Time that summer's almost over. Sorry, kids. No, not sorry. Today was the release of the USA Today College Football Coaches Poll. Alabama, number 1. Ohio State, number 2. Georgia, Clemson, Notre Dame round out the top 5. USC, by the way, checked in at 15th. Of course, they have first-year head coach Lincoln Riley. Texas, by the way, was 18th, yet someone gave the Longhorns a first-place vote. Baltimore Ravens running back J.K. Dobbins removed from the PUP list today. Should be ready to go for Week 1 against the Jets. Ravens also gave all-world kicker Justin Tucker 4-year contract extension. ESPN's Jamison Hensley reports $17.5 million in guaranteed money. Jordan Love is going to get the start for the Packers this weekend at quarterback in their preseason opener against the Niners. Aaron Rodgers, he hasn't played in the preseason since 2018. And can you imagine here in the year 2022, a professional basketball team was forced to sleep in an airport? That's what happened to the LA Sparks last night. Sparks get stuck in D.C., multiple cancellations to their commercial flights, and then there's not enough hotel rooms for the entire team. As Nneka Ogwumike puts on her Instagram, half slept in the airport.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
When you think of Zach Wilson, they put so much into what he was at BYU and what he can become in the National Football League.
The guys will be back Tuesday morning at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge Studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us, AFR, presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Yusuf. And Mr. Toby Tom Play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there, make it a good one. Hope you had an awesome weekend. Saints took the day off yesterday. They were back at it today. Jameis Winston rolled his ankle. We'll get the latest from Maddy Hudak 1 hour from right now. Giant weekend for LSU. Of course, Shelton Sampson, the 5-star receiver out of Cali, commits to LSU. That is a Catholic High-related story I'm sure we can all celebrate. Yes, please. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Yes, thank you.
100%.
Thank you, Muse. Appreciate that sincerely. So we got a lot to get to here. Cauble will be here in hour number 3 with us. Just a ton of football. Today was really, really fun for me. I have not been able to go to an LSU football practice since Les Miles was the coach. No, that's not because I was banned. I know you're thinking it. Under Ed Ogeron, the media availability at practice was always in the afternoon, and I'm always on air. So under Les Miles, when they would go through fall camp, there would be usually split practices, and that's when 2 days were still allowed, but they would largely, especially early in camp, split freshmen and then select veterans, and then a veteran practice in the afternoon, or however they would do it. So I got to go to practice today literally for the first time in like 5 years. So it was cool to be out there to give you my own observations instead of having to solely rely on other people, telling me what they saw, which I always appreciate. Please don't misunderstand. It's just I can tell you my thoughts based on what I actually saw today. So the first thing before we talk about any position battles or anything like that, first and foremost, the organization is incredible. And it's not to say in the past things weren't organized. It was just different. But the way that Brian Kelly and his staff have structured practice is such that they are going to maximize what they do in a smaller amount of time. And it is so obvious there is no waste of time and everything's thought out. I'll give you an example. When they were in individual drills, the corners, safeties, linebackers, defensive line had 4 stations set up in 4 corners of a field. And for each period, you are working at that station. Robert Steeples is running one. Jamar Cain is running another. Matt House is basically going around all the different stations. And you are maximizing time. If it's crossing, head in front of body, working on tackling, if it's dummies, if it's shoot drills, whatever it is, and then horn sounds, and boom, it's like ants marching to the next station, and they go. Specialists were working on their own field. I mean, there was no waste of time. And I thought it was pretty cool also. Early in practice, they had music piped through. Like, I mean, you want to keep the mood good and lively and guys kind of, chipper. I mean, they were bumping during practice, which was actually really cool. We did get to see the quarterbacks work on zone handoffs and zone passes with the running backs. We did get to see the quarterbacks throw with receivers as well. And we got to see the quarterbacks run a little bit also. So this is what everybody's going to want to ask about, obviously, is the quarterbacks. Right now, Garrett Nussmeier is running with the first team. Somebody has to be the one, right? Someone has to be first. Like, someone's got to go first. It doesn't necessarily mean that's how it's going to be when the first snap of the first game is taken, but they got to start somewhere. And it's very, very clear right now because every drill they did today, Garrett Nussmeier went first. Not only on the drills where the quarterbacks were working on the side, throwing to GAs, not on the drills when quarterbacks were throwing with receivers, when quarterbacks were handing off to running backs, Garrett Nussmeier went first. The order was Garrett Nussmeier, Jaden Daniels, Miles Brennan, and then Walker Howard, who I think we all understand is likely going to redshirt this year. Again, that doesn't mean that's how it's going to be in the season opener, but it's how it is now. And I think that makes it pretty clear that Miles Brennan has a lot of work to do if he's going to get in the mix here to be the starter. He'll have time. They'll have scrimmages throughout fall camp. They'll have the remainder of fall camp and practices. And unfortunately, knock on wood, nobody wants to see it happen, but injuries do happen. But if you're in the camp, and I've basically split LSU fans into two camps. You have the people that are hoping Miles Brennan gets sort of the storybook ending in his sixth and final season, and then the people that are intoxicated by Garrett Nussmeier and the potential. I'll tell you, Nussmeier looks bigger out there. I mean, it's pretty natural to expect, right? If you're a guy who goes from 18 to 19, 19 to 20, like in a full year into a strength and conditioning program, Nussmeier looks bigger. He looks fuller. He's 6'2". Like standing next to guys like Daniels and Brennan, who are 6'4", 6'5", he looks smaller next to them, but he looks bigger than he did a year ago, which is, I think, a great sign. Mike Denbrock did talk today about working with Jaden Daniels with accuracy. We did get to see them running zone plays where they would either give or fake the handoff, step back, and throw crossing patterns over the middle. And I thought the accuracy, all the quarterbacks were notable, especially Daniels, because that was such a conversation in the offseason. Aside from the quarterbacks, I'll tell you, it was interesting to me to see Noah Cain primarily repping as the first running back in line. So there was a point where they were working on goal line drills, and you could hear Mike Denbrock yell, "Give me the ones, give me the ones." And so the first line ran out there, Garrett Nussmeier ran out there, and the first running back out there was Noah Cain. I'm not saying that that's a commentary on John Emery, I don't know, but the first running back that went out there when they said, "Give me the ones," was Noah Cain. And when they said, "Give me the twos," it was Armani Goodwin. And John Emery was at practice. So maybe that's just him having to earn it or whatever the case may be if you want to read too much into it. But I think what it tells you is all three of those guys are going to play. They're all going to play. And they all rep differently. And I think John Emery is going to be the starter. And it's going to happen that way, but maybe just how they're cycling through the running back reps right now. I thought, as far as the offensive line, so your first offensive line as of right now, and for me, I think this is by far the most gigantic question on this team right now. And I don't even think there's a close second, and it's the offensive line. There's one given that I'm willing to say today, and that's that Will Campbell's going to be the left tackle against Florida State. That's the one thing I'll say with certainty is going to happen. The fact that you've got so many guys that have been around for so long and nobody has solidified a job is very concerning. But your first offensive line today was Will Campbell at left tackle, so left to right. Will Campbell, Tremont Shorts, the transfer from East Tennessee State, was left guard. Your starting center today, your first center was Garrett Dellinger. And the third snap that he did in the goal line drill we got to see, he rolled it back to Jaden Daniels. the shotgun snap it's paramount. So they're working on guys who haven't done this before to try to figure that out. So Dellinger was your center. The other transfer, Miles Frazier, was your right guard, and then Anthony Bradford was your right tackle. So that was your first offensive line. Your second offensive line, left to right, they had you know what? I got to be honest with you. I got to pull up the damn roster because I'm not exactly sure. I wrote down jersey numbers, and I'm not sure who they had at left tackle. Emory Jones was at left guard. The freshman out of Catholic High was your second team left guard. Your second team center was Fitzgerald West. And that's notable because Charles Turner has been sort of the veteran there that we were kind of hoping would take that job. And you had a true freshman who's converting from defensive line to play center, running second behind Garrett Dellinger. I mean, it's two guys that have never played the position are now repping ahead of Charles Turner at center, and that's concerning. Marcus Dumerville, was the left tackle. So it went Dumerville left tackle, Emory Jones left guard, Fitzgerald West at center, Cardell Thomas was your second team right guard, and then Cam Wire was your second team right tackle. That's how they repped it today, anyway, with the first and the second teams. Jack Besh and Chris Hilton were riding the stationary bike during the period we saw. Did not see Jure Jenkins out there. Also did not see Jordan Tolles or Jark Bernard Converse there. Just a couple other things of note. B.J. Ojolari is now wearing number 18. He was working with the linebackers this morning during the individual periods that we got to see. And it appears as though Desmond Little has changed his jersey number. He was number 58 or 50. I think he was 59. He's now changed number 8. Dude's like 6'5". He's a 6'5" linebacker. He's an incredible specimen to behold. But Desmond Little's now wearing number 8 on the defensive side of the ball. And I always tell y'all that there's always a freshman when you go out there and you get the first look at that freshman and it pops and it's like, oh my God, who is that? Everybody is looking at Harold Perkins, the 5-star linebacker, and rightfully so. At 220 pounds, he looks the part. But I'll tell you, the other guy who is on the all-airport team is Quincy Wiggins. It's my first time getting to see him at practice. He wears number 93. He's playing defensive end. He looks like Daniil Hunter already. I mean, he is an Adonis. Looks like an alien. But, how quickly can you get up to speed to play against SEC-level offensive linemen? That'll determine it. But that's a guy who looks the part already. All right, so just some observations from today, from Monday out at LSU practice. The next media availability is Thursday in Tiger Stadium, and we are allowed to watch the entire practice. So that's different. As far as I can tell, talking to some of the old hats that have covered LSU for a long, long time, that hasn't happened around here since Jerry DiNardo, like in 1998. He shut things off apparently in 1999. Hannah Griff was telling me that. But, I think you got to go back 24 years. Almost a quarter century since LSU's had a practice that's been open for the duration of the entire practice. But that's going to happen on Thursday in Tiger Stadium, so we'll give you a report on that then. All right, it's after further review. We're glad to have you aboard with us here. Maddy Hudak will be with us in 47 minutes. She'll tell us what went on at Saints practice today and on Saturday as well. The Hudats were off on Sunday, so we'll get you caught up on all that. All right, glad to have you aboard with us here. When we come back, I do want to give you a quick update on Jameis, who apparently left practice today after rolling his ankle. We'll get to that. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Baton Rouge General Hospital, brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org. Expanding healthcare expertise. It's there for you at the Baton Rouge General, where they are partnered with the Mayo Clinic Care Network. They're part of the Mayo Clinic Care Network. I've told you about this before, but what that means for you is that your physician here locally gets clinical collaboration, access to the world-renowned physicians and their research at the Mayo Clinic at no extra cost to you. That is an exclusive, by the way. No other facility in Baton Rouge, no other hospital in this market can be part of the Mayo Clinic Care Network. That's what you get at the Baton Rouge General Hospital. brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org to learn more, to find out all of the different healthcare services that they offer. It's the Baton Rouge General Hospital with locations all over the greater Baton Rouge area. Again, online at brgeneral.org, part of the Mayo Clinic Care Network, brgeneral.org.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
So I guess there was a collective gasp in New Orleans today when Jameis Winston left the practice field early. Here's what Dennis Allen said when he met with reporters after practice.
Jameis went in today with kind of tweaked his foot a little bit. He went in for some evaluation. I don't have any update on that, but it was kind of rolling out. I think it was in the 7-on-7 period that kind of felt it tweak a little bit, and so we wanted to go in and get him evaluated.
He being Dennis Allen did later speak on the NFL Network, and the quote was, "Yeah, he was rolling out." And in a 7-on-7 period, kind of rolled his ankle a little bit. So from tweaked his foot to rolled his ankle a little bit. So that seems to be what it is. I think considering what the Saints have gone through over the last nearly 2 years with Michael Thomas, when you hear rolled ankle, it probably is going to spook some people, and understandably so. The thing that I'll point out is the unfortunate part about Michael Thomas's injury and how it persisted is the fact that it happened early in the season. The first game of the season. And then he tried to play on it and play through it. And so it just kept getting worse and worse throughout 2020. And then in 2021, he didn't play because we know what happened. He needed surgery, put it off, all that stuff. This doesn't feel like it's to that degree at all. So while I understand why there might be some sort of some scars, some battle wounds because of what's happened with Michael Thomas and that ankle, to hear that and to kind of freak out, I'll remind you, you're still 5 weeks from the opener. I mean, even if it was a badly sprained ankle, which it doesn't sound like. I mean, when the coach says he rolled his ankle a little, that doesn't sound like something what we normally associate with a bad ankle injury. So even when that happens, if you're talking 4 to 6 weeks, you're still 5 weeks from the opener. I mean, this probably means you're not going to run Jameis out there Saturday against the Texans, which I don't think you were going to do that anyway. So I don't know that I'm going to react or overreact. You've got 5 weeks from the opener. If this was he tweaked his ankle or rolled his ankle the Monday before your week 1 game in Atlanta, then I'm really concerned about it. Because he's going to play, and does it just aggravate it, make it worse, and then it's something that persists throughout the year? In this instance, it feels like, okay, well, if you need some time off, just give him some downtime and let him get it right till he's ready to get back out there. So we'll ask Maddy about that when she's with us here in about 40 minutes from right now. But that was sort of the big headline today. Of course, the Saints on Saturday will play in Houston against the Texans in their first preseason game. Now, while Jameis goes down with injury today, Michael Thomas, it seems like, is starting to come along even more. Thomas did participate notably this weekend in 11-on-11 drills, full team drills for the first time. That got a lot of people's attention. Here was Dennis Allen on Mike Thomas.
I'd say I think he looks good out there. He looks like he's rounding back into form like he was prior to the injury. Certainly there's still a progression that we're going through with that player, but he's incorporated himself into some team drills. You see some physical contact happening out there, and he continues to line up again. So, yeah, I like where he's at.
Saw Schefter tweet over the weekend that Michael Thomas participated in 11-on-11 drills and even was tackled to the ground. Progress. Y'all, we've talked about this enough now. And I understand why until you see it in a game, people are going to keep asking the questions. Like, Michael Thomas is fine. It is very clear that he is fine. You're going to take it slowly because you don't want to risk any type of a setback. But at this point, it should not be surprising that Michael Thomas is running routes, is cutting, stopping, being tackled, catching. Like, he was doing all of that all offseason. I mean, we talked about it over and over again. You look at Michael Thomas's social media, he is showing you. You don't need to ask a question. He was showing you. He was showing you running on these like palatial hillside estates overlooking the Pacific Ocean, stopping and cutting and catching footballs. Like, he's doing football stuff. Michael Thomas is fine. I don't have any reservation whatsoever. They want to bring him along slowly, fine. I wouldn't play him in any preseason game. Why would you? But I have no reservations whatsoever at this point about Michael Thomas at all. I am mostly just excited for him and Jameis to get timing together. Same with Olave and Jarvis and all these guys, and to see him back out on the practice field. The other guy who they're still kind of bringing along is Taysom Hill. Early in practice, he apparently took a shot in the ribs, which has slowed him a bit. Here was an update from Dennis Allen on Taysom.
Look, he was back out there today for a little bit of, walk through, individual routes on air. We'll begin to kind of ramp him up a little bit. I think he was excited about being back out there a little bit today, and certainly we were excited about having him out there.
So Taysom was back out there. Again, another guy you probably won't see this weekend in the preseason game, the first preseason game, which, look, we know how Sean Payton would handle preseason games. We're going to learn how Dennis Allen handles preseason game. It's probably going to be similar to what Payton did. I don't think you see Jameis. I don't think you see Mike Thomas. You're not going to see Taysom Hill if he's still nursing an injury right now. But Dennis Allen was asked, because this is the week of the first preseason game, if this is a good time and a good spot for them to play somebody else.
I think we're in good spots. We got a couple more installs to go before we get to Houston. So we're kind of focused on that part of it right now and just evaluating our team. But I'm excited to see our team go out there and play, and looking forward to that, and then looking forward to getting on to Green Bay a little bit next week and having some competitive practices against somebody else.
Remember, the Saints, when they go to Green Bay, are going to have joint practices with the Packers before that preseason game next week. So they'll ramp up in week 2 of the preseason. But one player that I am interested to see this weekend is Abram Smith. Of all the players, be it draft, I understand why people are going to want to see draft picks. You're going to want to see Penning and Olave and those guys because you have a lot of draft capital invested in them. But I think they're lot on this team is solidified. We know they're going to make the team, obviously. And Olave, I think, is going to be a really good receiver. And I think Petty has a chance to win the starting left tackle job, if not to start the season at some point during this year. But for me, I'm a preseason junkie because I do think roster spots 50, 51, 52, they matter. So this is when you see guys win those jobs. I mean, last year it was Tony Jones Jr. Now, when he got his opportunity in the regular season, it didn't carry over. But in that preseason game against Baltimore, he looked the part, and that's a big, giant reason of why he made the team. So this year, that opportunity goes to Abram Smith. He went undrafted, but he was a all Big 12 back at Baylor. He ran for 1,600 yards last season. Freakish athlete who, at one point in his career, shifted to linebacker. The Saints brought him in because they have a need at running back. And we've talked about all the different guys they might bring in, if they might make a trade, all the trades they've tried to make in this offseason to bring in additional talent and help at the running back position. All that can be answered if Abram Smith proves to be who we think he can be, and that's what he's trying to do this weekend.
Yeah, I think I've just seen a little bit more decisiveness in his runs. I've seen him put his foot in the ground and get north and south in the last few practices. And so, that's an area that I'd like to continue to see improvement with that player. That sense of urgency, I think, is important. So we talked about getting ready for a game. I'm excited to see some of these young guys that I haven't seen operate in a game. I'm excited to see some of these guys get out and play.
I don't know if he's going to coach like Sean Payton, but he sure as hell talks like him. I mean, Muse, you cut up audio of all these guys all day. That player, the player.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
did he start that with a listen or a look? I think.
Let's see. One of them he did.
I know that. Oh, it's more than one. Sometimes I cut it off because it's just
cut off the listen or the look.
Sometimes.
Part of me feels like, out of obligation and to pay homage to Sean Payton, we should leave the listen or the look in there.
Do we think it was Sean Payton who started that or Mickey Loomis? Because he does the same thing.
Mickey does it too, and so does Breeze.
Yeah.
They
Breeze
all did. But I think Sean was the one. You know what's actually worth checking is, did Bill Parcells do it?
Oh.
Because if Bill Parcells did it, then Sean learned it from Bill, and that's where it carried over and then sort of infiltrated. Or we can go back and check early Mickey Loomis, pre-Sean Payton Mickey Loomis. Like, let's find how about if we go back and find the Sean Payton introductory press conference?
Okay.
And when Mickey Loomis is talking, are there any listens or looks or what's the other one that he uses all the time?
I think this.
I think this.
We
yes.
like the player.
Well, that's not going to be there. Relative to is a big one.
Relative to is a good one.
Absolutely. We got some work to do. Let's see if we can maybe find the origin. But I'm going to say that it's Sean Payton who brought it here and then sort of infiltrated the entire organization with those verbal crutches. Okay. After further review, we'll knock out a break. When we come back, we'll around the SEC. Also, SMU. It is a cold day in hell when we talk about SMU athletics on this show, unless they did what they announced they're doing today, which the fact alone that it's on the rundown and I'm talking about something related to SMU lets you know it's really important. And that's next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Rouse's is the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com. You want a hot lunch or hot dinner? Rouse's has got you covered. They have actually daily lunch and dinner specials at Rouse's. So you can find the Rouse's location nearest you or just pop on into any of those Rouse's. You can go to the website, Rouse's.com, download the Rouse's app. They've got delivery and pickup options. So if you're getting your groceries and you need to save time, go to the app, select your items. They'll go shop for you. When you pull up into the parking spot, they'll bring it out to you. You can pay online. It's easy. Or they can deliver to your home if you can't get to Rouse's. They just make it easy. Rouse's feels like home. Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. You can check out all their options if you're interested in any of their food for dinner tonight or for lunch. Just go to the website there, or just walk into any Rouse's. When you walk in, go to the left. You'll see the hot and boiled kiosk. So many great options. It's Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off new Ford F-150s. We have new 2021 F-150s on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
I told you that if I'm going to talk about SMU on this show, that it's going to be something super relevant. I mean, we don't ever talk about SMU. There's nothing relevant at talking about SMU. They're in the American Athletic. They haven't been good since Eric Dickerson. It just doesn't matter what they do. But this matters because since NIL was introduced, probably the biggest question that I've had, considering, y'all, the haves are still going to be the haves. Schools with money who have built big facilities and been paying recruits under the table and win championships and pay coaches $100 million, like, they're going to keep winning. I mean, the haves are going to keep winning. The biggest question with NIL has always been what schools in that next tier can buy their way into the top tier. Now, that does beg a very legitimate follow-up, which is if you had those resources, why haven't you been investing them prior to get you there? And maybe they have. It's just there isn't enough around there, around the rest of the program to warrant getting attention from 5 stars and top-tier recruits. This, however, will absolutely get every recruit's attention. On3 Sports is reporting that New Boulevard Collective, that's the SMU Collective, is going to pay SMU athletes $3.5 million annually through NIL. To break it down a little further, what they're doing is paying every player on the football And men's basketball teams, $36,000 a year. Every one of them. All of them. This is similar to what Texas Tech did. They have their Matador Club. Their plan is to pay every 100 football players $25,000 a year, amounting to $2.5 million. SMU is bumping that up even more. Now, if you're wondering, of course, SMU is in Dallas-Fort Worth. It's right there in the Metroplex. There's a ton of money around SMU. Chris Kleinert, the CEO of Hunt Realty Investments, is leading this charge. Kyle Miller, who's the president and CEO of Silver Hill Energy Partner, another SMU alum, is leading this charge right now. But you have wealthy business owners in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area there that are funding this collective and are committing to do so. And it is, listen, we can all sit here today and you can shrug your shoulders, you can brush it off and dismiss it. But this is the thing. This is the exact thing as it pertains to NIL that is the biggest question. Tennessee has bellied up to the bar, brother. Spire Sports at Tennessee. Remember last week On3 Sports released their NIL collective rankings, and Tennessee's was number 1. Tennessee is tired of being an also-ran. They've been an also-ran for more than a decade now, and they're tired of it. They're ready to compete again. They have had just blown opportunity with misses in coaching searches after misses in coaching searches, from Kiffin to Dooley to Butch Jones to Pruitt. Maybe they got the guy right now with Heupel, but one thing will help him tremendously. You start getting the best players in the country again. They might. And if Deion Sanders can get the number 1 player in the country to go to Jackson State, you better believe SMU paying athletes 36 G's a year. Everybody is going to get that roster a lot deeper, a lot quicker. Whew. We'll keep you posted. Because those are the kinds of stories. And you could say, how are they going to be able to do that? It's pay for play. Yeah, it's pay for play. But it's all how you structure it. So if you actually structure it as, well, the collective is going to do NIL deals with these athletes, okay, well, that's how they structure it. So then it's not pay for play, which it is, but it's just semantics at this point and how you structure a deal. But that is the thing that should have all of the haves worried that the former have-nots are now knocking on the door and trying to find some elbow room at the big kids table. Texas Tech, SMU, Tennessee, Miami, they're all waiting in a line at the door right now. And Bama and Clemson and Ohio State and LSU and USC. You either pay up to keep the deadbolt on that door, or you scooch over and make some room at the table because you've got competition. All right, we're brought to you by DraftKings, official sports betting partner of the UFC, official sports betting partner of AFR. DraftKings, love telling you about DraftKings every single day. Right now, DraftKings is offering new customers a $1,000 risk-free bet. That's at the DraftKings Sportsbook app. It's so easy. I'll just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use the promo code Baton Rouge, and get up to $1,000 risk-free on your first bet. $1,000, up to $1,000 risk-free, meaning you bet, you lose, no worries. I'll give you another shot, another bite at the apple. It's at the DraftKings Sportsbook. NFL futures, college football futures, NFL preseason, Major League Baseball second half is rolling. Whatever your favorite sport or anything at all you want to bet on, you can do it at the DraftKings Sportsbook app and get a risk-free bet up to $1,000 when you use the promo code Baton Rouge. So do it today. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Availability varies by parish. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for full terms and conditions. Licensee partner Golden Nugget, Lake Charles. Gambling problem? Call 1-877-7-STOP. All right, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Florida Gators.
Cornerback Jaden Hill missed all of last year with a torn ACL he suffered in the second week of fall camp. And he's yet to be fully cleared to return from that injury. Billy Napier said he's been unable to see the field in any of the practices so far in fall camp. Hill did go through spring in a non-contact jersey. As a sophomore back in 2020, played in 12 games for the Gators with 5 starts. He was thought to be the leader to replace Kyer Elam, who was taken in the first round.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
Another transfer out of Kentucky, and it's a guy with local Baton Rouge ties. A Kentucky junior defensive back, former 4-star recruit Joel Williams from Madison Prep in Baton Rouge. He's entered the transfer portal. Played in 7 games last year as a sophomore. Remember, he was one of 6 players who was charged with first-degree burglary in connection to an incident back in the spring of 2021. All the charges eventually were dropped. Again, former 4-star out of Madison Prep. He was the number 16 athlete nationally in the class of 2020 when he chose Kentucky over Bama, Auburn, LSU, Florida, Georgia, and others. Kentucky has now lost a total of 18 transfers since the end of 2021.
The Texas A&M Aggies.
Philadelphia offensive tackle Nikhil Bertrand was committed to Colorado. That was until this weekend when he flipped to Texas A&M. Bertrand had a top 6 of A&M, Auburn, Kentucky, Georgia, Penn State, and Syracuse. He's the 10th commit for the Aggies in the 2023 class. Bertrand, I do not see. 6'7", 310. He's a big dude.
The Georgia Bulldogs.
And Georgia's added a 2024 recruit, Maryland running back Tavani Mizell. He's been timed 4.39 in the 40. Keep in mind, he's a rising junior, meaning he just finished his sophomore year. He's 6'1", 200 pounds. That's how you get to be the number 5 running back in the country for the class of 2024. He picked he picked Georgia over offers from Alabama and Florida. Still has 2 more seasons, though, of varsity football at the high school level. There you have it. That is Around the SEC presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products online at gcopnet.com. gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales, service after the sale. National leader among Savin dealers, but they will service all makes and models. That's our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products. gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. All right, y'all, we're going to head to New Orleans in about 18 minutes from right now. Maddy Hudak will give us a Saints camp report. Saints practiced Saturday, took the day off Sunday, and we're back at it today, and part of practice today did move indoors. So Maddy will give us an update, and then I saw Cauble earlier today out at LSU practice, so Cauble will join us in hour number 3 as well. We'll talk a little LSU football practice. If you missed the open of the show today, went through my camp report. Man, so much to get to as well. Mike Denbrock met with the media earlier today in about 45 minutes. I want to talk about the preseason top 25. The coaches poll has been released. LSU not ranked in the preseason coaches poll for the first time since Nick Saban's first year, since 2000. It's been a stunningly long time, although there is one metric I found this weekend that absolutely loves this LSU team. We're going to get to that in about 45 minutes, bottom of hour 2. Glad you're aboard with us here. We'll knock out our final break of hour number 1 and wrap up the first hour next.
AFR.
Every single day I tell you, better coverage for less money. Stop overpaying to be underinsured. How about this one? Joseph, an AFR listener, had been with Allstate for 38 years and was drastically overpaying. Said he had comfort with Allstate because he'd been with them for so long, but he was just overpaying dramatically. Heard the ads, finally made a call. Jay over at Insurance Network of Louisiana got on the same exact coverage, but saved $2,638 annually. Kept mentioning how easy the process was, said he was going to tell all his friends. Y'all hear me say it every day. What if you're overpaying by $2,600 annually on your insurance or more? Let Insurance Network of Louisiana find out. They'll shop independently for free to find you better coverage for less money. Call them today, y'all. Don't wait. 293-0450, 225-293-0450, 293-0450, or lainsurance.net.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more taste and only 96 calories. It's Miller time.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
You need cooling, baby, I'm not fooling.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Thank you for this honor, for believing in Sam, and for helping to keep his story alive. Keep pounding, everyone. That's what Sam would want you to do.
As Melanie Mills, who delivered the Hall of Fame speech for her husband, the late Sam Mills, former Saints linebacker, of course, with the Carolina Panthers as well, but spent a solid decade in New Orleans as part of the Dome Patrol Ring of Honor member. He's in the Saints Hall of Fame and now also in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Melanie Mills, one more on her late husband.
On the surface, the Sam Mills story is a story of a man who was told that he wasn't good enough to play college football, or that he wasn't big enough to play professional football. And at the age of 27, he wasn't young enough for the NFL. And yet, here we are today, celebrating him.
A great testament and testimony to Sam Mills, who was so fun to watch in that era of the Dome Patrol. And I was fortunate enough, as I'm sure many of you as well, but that was my childhood, was Dome Patrol. Those are my first real memories of watching the Saints in that era in the late 80s and then into the early 90s with the Dome Patrol and Bobby Hebert and Eric Martin, and Dalton Hilliard was my favorite player as a kid. And Sam Mills was a giant part of that. Hated seeing him go to Carolina. I hate the fact that Carolina kind of claims him as well a little bit. I kind of want to tell him to kick rocks. But on this day, it's all about honoring the late Sam Mills, and congrats to him and to his family and everyone associated with the Saints organization. Saints have their second Hall of Famer, obviously Ricky Jackson. It's it's really just really cool to see. I to have the second member of the Dome Patrol go into the Hall of Fame is just is really stinking cool. And well, let me not forget, obviously, Willie Roaf and Morton Anderson as well. So the Saints have more Hall of Famers, but second member of the Dome Patrol, I should mention. So, and more, we'll obviously hear their names called. We'll hear, Drew Brees will go into the Hall of Fame eventually, and there's other players from this era that are well on their way. But congrats to the late Sam Mills and his entire family. All right, it's after further review. Muse, I have to apologize.
What's up?
I got a piece of mail today. It's a little package.
Oh Lord.
And I opened it. But
okay.
But I just misread the label. It was in my box.
Oh, yeah.
And it says Matthew Musso, care of Matt Moscona.
Oh.
But I just saw my name, and it was in my box. So I didn't think
that makes sense. No, yeah. So I won't press charges. It's fine.
I did open it for you, but there you go. If you want to take a gander.
Lord. Yeah. Gee, wonder what this could be.
What do you think it is?
I would imagine it's some shirt about marijuana, if I had to guess. Let's see.
Let's see what it is.
Yeah, there. It's actually pretty funny. So yeah, it is.
Looks like a T-shirt.
It is. It's a shirt. It says, "I've got 99 problems and 420 solutions."
Hey,
how about that?
Look, there's a leaf on there.
Yeah.
Is that like is it like from an oak tree?
No, I thought that was the Adidas logo. I'm sorry. Okay, no. Okay, so it's different.
Oh, that's not what that is?
No.
What is that?
I would imagine. It's a marijuana leaf.
Because you know what marijuana looks like.
I'm not entirely sure, actually.
Got it. Well, I hope you enjoy. That's really
nice.
This
actually is the best one that they've sent so far. This is funny.
Have we seen other ones? Have we had other shirts?
They've sent me 2 other ones.
Oh, what did the other ones say?
Yeah, well, one of them was a Cheech and Chong shirt.
Have you kept them?
I believe they're in the bottom of my dresser. Yeah.
That's where you hide your weed under the shirt. No.
I don't have any weed to hide, Matt.
Okay. I mean, you just whatever you say. Okay. Well, it was a very nice gesture, I thought.
Yes. No. Thank you.
Very nice gesture.
To whoever this anonymous is with
Stopped
jokes.
selling it at my store months ago. I think it's a piece of junk. Y'all, feel free if you want to send me some more weed jokes. 929 Government Street, Baton Rouge, Louisiana, 70802. Care of Matthew Musso. Guarantee Media, care of, or Matthew Musso, care of Guarantee Media. Or to me, whatever. Okay, Muse. You and I we have established uniform people in the past.
Yes.
The Field of Dreams game is coming up. Last year,
Yes.
Yankees, White Sox. This year, it's going to be Cubs, Reds. And they're wearing throwback unis. These are the Reds unis from 1919. I don't know what retro look that is for the Cubs. I'm not seeing it in this release specifically about the Cubs uniform. Okay, you go first. Thoughts on the Field of Dreams unis?
Well, I'll say this. The Reds kind of, like their jerseys, kind of look like the Cubs, the current jerseys. So I don't really...
Pinstripes, yeah.
Yeah, I don't really... And like even the C on the chest with the name in the middle. So I don't really love that. I like the hat for the Reds. I think that's a good look. And I really like the Cubs. I really like the Cubs uniform. I like the cream. Color.
A little off-white.
Off-white, yeah. The hat's terrible, but the jersey itself, I like it a lot.
So the Reds uniform, the jersey is pinstripe. It's got that sort of wishbone C on the left chest with Reds spelled out. And the hat is a white hat also with a pinstripe. You don't see pinstripe hats very often. And it's got sort of a calligraphic C with a red bar across the where the bill meets the body of the hat. These are the 1919 uniforms that they wore. Incidentally, that's when the Reds won the World Series, when the Chicago White Sox and Shoeless Joe Jackson famously threw the World Series. So is this game presented by DraftKings?
I'm not sure.
I'm sure it will be. How much you want to bet all throughout? Well, of course, all throughout the game. We're going to see sports betting ads all throughout the game, which makes this a little kind of a funny undertone. The Cubs jerseys, you mentioned off-white, but it's like the same C. It actually looks like the Chicago Bears wishbone C.
It does look like the Bears.
And it's got the old Cubs logo, which is like a bear holding a bat, kind of seated, but not in a chair, which looks weird. And then the hat is just navy blue with that white bear logo as well. So what I do love about the Cubs uniform is the piping. The piping makes it look so sharp. Either way, it's nostalgic. baseball is inherently nostalgic. That's why the Field of Dreams game is a good idea. That's why the movie Field of Dreams tugged at our heartstrings, a game that shared between fathers and sons. It's why it's great. And last year, if you remember, the White Sox walked off with a home run against the Yankees, which sucked, but it was great drama and theater. And for once, as much as we crush baseball for all the stupid stuff they do, they have gotten this right, and hopefully they will continue to get it right. The Field of Dreams game is coming back with the Cubs and the Reds later this month. All right, it's after further review. We'll head to New Orleans. Maddy Hudak will join us when we come back to give us our Saints camp report for Monday. Stick around. It's AFR.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. ShawbillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service and name brand tires at wholesale prices. That is Shawbill. So if you need tires, so easy. Go to ShawbillsTire.com. You can shop tires. Just hit the Shop Tires logo right there, icon right there on the center of the homepage, and you can see all the different types of tires they have depending on what type of vehicle you drive. If you want to schedule service because your check engine light has come on, it's time for an oil change, your brakes are squeaking, anything, you can schedule service online. Just tap the schedule service icon there in the center, choose the location nearest you, bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. You can do that to make it convenient. That's Shawbills. No one will work harder to get you better tires at cheaper prices than Shawbills. They'll sell you the best tires on the road at the cheapest price possible, combining manufacturers' offers and their own offers. Learn more at ShawbillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off new Ford F-150s. We have new 2021 F-150s on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
This is
SportsCenter.
I'm Kevin Winter. This week begins the 3-week event known as the FedEx Cup Playoffs. There is a war that is being waged between golfers on the LIV Tour who have qualified for the playoffs and the PGA Tour. Taylor Gooch, Matt Jones, Hudson Swafford left the PGA Tour for the LIV Tour and are suspended from the PGA Tour, but they qualify for the FedEx Cup Playoffs. Last week, the LIV Golf Tour sued to allow those 3 golfers to participate in the playoffs. This morning, the PGA Tour asked a federal judge to deny that temporary restraining order, arguing the players, quote, can't have their cake and eat it too. ESPN confirming the NFL has asked its on-field officials to focus more on illegal contact fouls for the upcoming season. Illegal contact penalties, the ones within the 5-yard buffer zone, they were called an average of 97 times per season from 2002 to 2020, and they dropped to just 36 last season. Bruins make it official, announced the captain Patrice Bergeron returning to the team on a 1-year deal. It'll be his 19th season in the league, so too will be David Krejci returning. USA Today, college football coaches poll is out. Alabama 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia, Clemson, Notre Dame round out the top 5. The AP poll comes out next Monday.
Think O'Reilly Auto Parts for all of your car care needs. We're close, convenient, and known for our guaranteed everyday low prices and excellent customer service from professional parts people you can trust. Stop by your local O'Reilly Auto Parts today. O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us, AFR. Presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt. I am sweating. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musu. And Mr. Toby Tomplin. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. We'll talk about Shelton Sampson coming up in about 15 minutes from right now. 5-star wide receiver from Baton Rouge. Pick the hometown Tigers. Want to react to that. That's coming up. All right, let's head down to New Orleans. Saints back on the practice field. They practiced Saturday. They had a day off Sunday. Back at it today. Maddy Hudak, our Saints correspondent throughout training camp, good enough to jump board with us again. Maddy, we appreciate it as always. How are you?
I'm good. Nice day inside for once, so not dying sweat over here for our training camp update.
I want to go back to Saturday to catch up, but let me just not bury the lead. Jameis Winston, we know, left practice today. What can you tell us?
So Dennis Allen said after practice that he had tweaked his foot, which isn't necessarily the best verbiage for fans kind of looking for stuff. Nick Underhill of NewOrleansFootball.Network just reported that he doesn't think it's anything serious. He did finish, the drill that he was in before kind of going out to the side. You almost didn't notice. A lot of people thought, Delton was taking reps because of potentially, working more in the preseason, but it seems to not be that serious. Just an unspecified foot injury at this point.
Okay. And the Saints, of course, this is their first preseason game week as they'll play the Texans this weekend. I don't know that we'll see Jameis, but I guess we'll get closer to that. Saturday, the no practice. Sunday, then back out today. Anything of note, just as a quick catch-up from Saturday?
They've kind of just been trying out a lot of looks specifically on defense, a lot of base with 3 linebackers, which kind of stuck out, and kind of some switching going on in the backfield. Pete Werner has been doing really well, and he's kind of been prominent out there. He switched at one point to kind of a cornerback snap and looked to be covering more in the slot today. And then, Justin Evans, who was kind of playing in the slot last week, looks like he moved more into a free safety role and really looked strong on Saturday back there.
Maddy, is there do you ever notice coming off of an off day if there's ever, or guys, lighter, peppier? Is it maybe a little harder to get going? Any observations like that?
Yeah, it's hard for me not to think of the weather as being a factor in this. I would say today was really the first day that you could feel the New Orleans heat the second you stepped out. For me at 7:30 this morning, it was pretty humid at that point. And so I was kind of thinking, this might be a muscle cramp kind of sluggish day. And lightning brought them inside about, 10 minutes into me arriving there. So that may have been where you might have seen some sluggishness, but it just seems really competitive. The one-on-one drills are still a really good battle. Wide receivers and defensive backs kind of winning, 50-50, I'd say. 7-on-7 drills and their red zone drills look really strong today as well. So definitely not a noticeable drop-off in competitive play. And it just seems to be a really good battle between this really good offense and defense, which you almost take for granted that they have such good counterparts to practice against.
Maddie, you mentioned 7-on-7s. Michael Thomas participating again, I would presume?
That he did. He looks really good. He had a really good high point where he caught a pass against the Debo, who did look stronger against him today. We've seen him in the slot. We've seen him taking kind of those deeper routes and carrying them downfield more. So he just kind of looks like he's coming on more and more as the days go on. It doesn't seem like he's kind of doing that, time off and then time back. He really seems to be working in there and pretty normal workload, all things considered.
So he's obviously rounding into form, which is great to see. Last week, you and I talked about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, the sort of hold in that he's going through. Had an excused absence. He was back today?
Yeah, so Saturday specifically, he appeared to have, I believe Dennis Allen said it was some sort of personal matter, so he was excused from that day. But he was out there today. Bradley Roby did get some time with the one in the slot, but he had a lot of back and forth against Deontay Hardy. He timed breaking up a pass really well in the end zone. You can just kind of see, CJ has such good short area quickness and motor, and that's why he works so well in the slot. So to see him kind of against Deontay Hardy, who is super quick as well, they were really just chasing themselves, all over the place. But Allen said after practice, he thought, Gardner-Johnson had a good practice. And considering he really hadn't participated in, the past week, I would kind of say the same after kind of going back and forth with Deontay Hardy quite a bit.
She's on Twitter at Maddy Hudak _94, joining us each day that the Saints are in camp to give us our Saints camp report. Couple other things. When we talked on Friday, the Saints had signed Kiko Alonso. And I asked you, this could he maybe make the team, or is this just a camp body? Well, he goes through one practice and then retires again. They added Chase Hansen. So first of all, what do you know about the Alonso situation? What can you tell us about Chase Hansen as well?
Yeah, it seems like Kiko Alonso on one day outside and decided that was enough of the NFL. I think people discount the mental part of being out of the game for so long and trying to get back into it. I think of Patrick Robinson last year.
Yeah.
And, if your heart's not in it, it's really hard to get your body pushing through all of that. So I guess, Kiko Alonso had his day and was decisive in that. Chase Hansen was someone that he's on the team. He's on the practice squad sometimes. It has stuck out to me that they've used a lot of packages with 3 linebackers, given that they're, kind of seemingly bringing those guys in and then lost Quan Alexander. But, Andrew Dowell and Caden Ellis, to me, have always been strong, solid depth pieces. And they're also pretty decent at blitzing as well. I did notice last year a lot of the time Caden Ellis would come in specifically for that. And with Pete Werner really kind of coming into his own in coverage, he had really good run stops today. But I remember him being pretty decent at run defense last year, and they would kind of swap Quan in for those coverage spots. But he was covering in the slot today pretty well and doing a lot of blitzing on top of that. So I think Alonso is just kind of see if he works as a depth piece, but Chase Hansen has that familiarity. And again, for kind of lacking that depth, they've used quite a bit of them in practice thus far.
Do they have enough depth there, Maddie, or are they still going to be looking for more at linebacker?
It's hard to say. I think someone like Caden Ellis, Andrew Dowell, they could step in. If someone like Pete Werner got hurt, but I think if someone, God forbid, Demario Davis getting hurt, I don't really know how you solve that problem anyways, and it's probably not someone that's available to be rostered at this point. It does worry me, right? Because, that was kind of the intent of signing Quan last year, getting Pete Werner kind of onboarded a little more. But the only counter I'd say to that is the Saints typically tend to only employ 2 linebackers, so they should be okay there. But that's definitely a position that I kind of have watching and seeing if there are any injuries moving forward.
Last thing, can you give us an update on Lattimore?
Yeah, so he was outside today. Briefly, he was working off to the side with the trainer, but when we went inside, we didn't see him anymore. That's really the first we've seen of him in a few days, so decent sign. And I've noted Alontae Taylor has kind of moved into that slot, taking his first-team reps at right cornerback, and did pretty well against Michael Thomas. So, I think as long as Lattimore is ramping up to start the season, all it really shows to me right now is kind of what that depth gives you in that secondary, kind of like CJ Gardner-Johnson's absence allowed us to kind of see Evans come into his own in the slot. Alontae Taylor really did well today in that position. So good to see him out there, but, almost even better to see the depth kind of holding up against, and this year it's not against, receivers that we can't really tell are they good or not. Alontae Taylor can guard Michael Thomas. I'm pretty confident about him in general.
What an about face from a year ago where, what were we – we talking about Marquez Callaway as the number one at this point last year?
Yeah, we were all kind of focusing on that Robert Meacham catch he had and not realizing that was kind of the peak of excitement.
Oh, man. It definitely feels like light years away. Wait, one more. Taysom Hill. I didn't ask about Taysom. Has he been increasing the workload?
Yeah, he was actually involved in air drills today. He did catch a nice pass from Andy Dalton. He was wearing a red penny today, which kind of threw everyone off, but I think that's just so he doesn't get hit in the rib cage.
It's not he's not wearing a quarterback red jersey. It's just so he didn't get hit. Okay, Maddy Hudak, we appreciate it. We'll talk tomorrow.
All right.
We appreciate it so much. Follow Maddy on Twitter at Maddy Hudak, MADDYHUDAK _94. Good enough to be our Saints correspondent during camp, so she'll be there each day giving us practice reports as long as the Saints are there in camp. But it's after further review. Quick break. Come back. I want to talk about Shelton Sampson, who, of course, picked LSU over the weekend. Also, on Friday, we got to talk to Noah Cain for the first time since he transferred to LSU. And I want to let's hear some of what he had to say and have some thoughts on Cain, who did take reps with the first offense today, which was interesting to see. A lot of football stuff to get to. Bottom of this hour, coaches poll, preseason top 25 is out. The coaches don't love this LSU team, but one computer does. We're going to talk about that when we come back, or actually at the bottom of this hour. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
All right, y'all. It is storm season. I've been telling you about it. There's no more time to wait. You got to call Schutz Electric. Or log on to the website, cesofla.com. Home standby generators. Keep in mind, at Schutz Electric, they've been Baton Rouge's premier power expert for 2 decades, but they have their own standby generator division. So it's not like other companies where they're pulling guys from their primary duties to go install generators. They have a generator division at Schutz Electric, which means when it comes to permitting, working with the city, working with the energy company, that's all they do. And I cannot tell you how thrilled that Erica and I were with our customer service experience with Schutz. That matters to me. I know it does to a lot of you as well. CESofLA.com. Power goes out, your home standby generator comes on and powers your whole house. It's that simple. It's affordable, and financing is available. There's no reason not to call to get that estimate. CESofLA.com. For Schutz Electric. Again, online, CESofLA.com.
For over 53 years, customers have been heading to Happy Town for the Corval Toyota experience. Why? Because they choose to get an outstanding price and amazing customer service. Want the same and get treated like family? Then Corval Toyota in Opelousas is the dealership for you. Corval vehicles have been cruising around Acadiana for 5 decades. Corval Toyota is here to stay, and we want to keep you rolling. So come on down to Happy Town. That's Corval Toyota in Opelousas, Happy Town, USA.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing.
I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've got 2 tickets to paradise. Won't you pack your bags, we'll leave tonight. I've got 2 tickets to paradise. I've got 2 tickets.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, we're going to let you hear from Noah Cain in just a quick second. Talked about his decision to transfer to LSU. Saturday was a massive day for LSU, and it was a day that many of us have been waiting on and quite honestly expecting for some time. But it became official. 5-star wide receiver out of Baton Rouge, Cali High. Shelton Sampson made it official in a ceremony at the school. He picked LSU over his other finalists, Alabama, Texas A&M, and Florida State. Look, we first became aware of Shelton Sampson the summer after his freshman season when he was a rising sophomore, when he ran a sub 4.4 40-yard dash at the Cur Dog Combine. Immediately offers started rolling in. LSU certainly was among them. And Shelton Sampson this weekend put an end to his recruitment by picking the Tigers. This is massive for so many reasons. I'll give you my take in a second. Here was Shelton on his decision to pick LSU.
I'm from Baton Rouge, so the question was really, why not? Like, why not go to LSU? I mean, I love how genuine the coaching staff is, and I just feel like everything going in the right direction.
And there was also, of course, the hashtag Shelton Stays movement on social media. Here was his reaction to that.
I wouldn't say it was a defining moment, but when the Shelton Stays, that was like a big, important role. Nah, it was crazy. Like when I first saw it, I was just shocked. Like I didn't even have no words. But it definitely played a big part in me committing.
Everybody wants to see. Everybody wants to be appreciated. Know they're appreciated, and certainly LSU fans, players, current, future, and former, all made that apparent as well. So. For some very obvious reasons, getting Shelton Sampson's commitment is big. He's a 5-star wide receiver from Baton Rouge. Okay. But a little more than a month ago, the biggest questions that we had about Brian Kelly were, could he recruit the state? We talked about it here. I told you I wasn't freaking out about it or anything along those lines, but it was something that we had to consider when you were talking about the fact that Derek Williams left the state. You knew Arch Manning was going to Texas. Eli Holstein was going to Alabama. Jaden Osbury didn't have LSU on his list. Again, I'm not saying any of that was Brian Kelly's fault. There's circumstance that was involved in a lot of that. Eli Holstein and Arch Manning would never come in LSU. Jaden Osbury wanted to leave. It didn't matter who the coach was. Okay, some of that you get. So the question was going to be in time, could you see this? Could you see Brian Kelly and his staff put the fence around the state and keep the best players home? That's why Tyree Adams, the commitment out of St. Aug, was so big. And now you look at what's happening right now. You get Shelton Sampson. Look at what's going to happen this week. Ricky Collins, quarterback from Woodlawn, who decommitted from Purdue, he's going to commit on Wednesday. It's likely he's going to pick LSU. Kylan Jackson, the safety out of Zachary, he's going to commit on Saturday. The expectation he's going to pick LSU. So in a 7-day span and really a little less than a 2-week span, you'll have gotten 4 players from Louisiana, 3 in a 7-day period in Baton Rouge. That's doing exactly what any coach at LSU has to do to win championships. Keep the best players in Louisiana in Louisiana. That was a big question, if he could do it. And he's starting to show you, Brian Kelly is, that he and the staff he's assembled are more than capable of doing just that. So that's a big part of it, undeniably, is keeping the best players from Louisiana in Louisiana. The other thing that will probably surprise many of you is just how big of a need spot wide receiver is for LSU. Because we look at Kayshon Boutte, and we look at Jack Besh, and we look at Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas and Chris Hilton and Jere Jenkins, and you go, and they're loaded at receiver. And they are. Don't misunderstand me. I think all of those guys are fantastic football players. But typically you want double-digit scholarship receivers on your team. I mean, if you're going to go 4 wide, if you have any type of injuries or defections, transfers, I mean, you want double-digit scholarship receivers on your roster. And after this year, Kayshon Boutte is going pro and Jere Jenkins is a senior, so his eligibility will have been exercised. That leaves you with Jack Besh, Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas, Chris Hilton. Kyron Lacey's a junior, so he'll have a decision to make if he wants to come back for another year, but provided he does. And then Landon Ibieta. That's 6 scholarship wide receivers. 6. You aren't anywhere close to the numbers you need, and that's provided all those guys come back. I mentioned Lacey could choose to go pro. One of those guys, maybe if they don't play a bunch this year, may choose to transfer. I mean, this year you lost Trey Palmer, Coy Moore, and Deion Smith. You lost 3 guys transferred after this past season. So your numbers could get even thinner. So it is super important in this class in particular for Brian Kelly and the staff to go hard after wide receivers. And right now, the top 2 players in your class are wide receivers. Shelton Sampson, the 5-star out of Baton Rouge, and Jaylen Brown, the 4-star out of Miami. That's 2 top 40 guys nationally. Sampson's number 33 in the composite, and Brown is number 40 in the composite. So you've added those guys already to this class, and you have one more wide receiver commitment in Kyle Parker out of Texas. So you got 3 wide receivers committed already. It's just a big year. Like, I know we don't think of it because the talent is there at receiver, but the numbers aren't. So yes, you have to go attack receiver in this class, and you've done it already with 2 big-time prospects. One more thing that I'll mention, too, is, and I promise this is not a homer comment, it's important to keep that Catholic High pipeline flowing toward LSU. And if you listen to the show for any length of time, you've heard me say this over the past few years, it ain't stopping with Emory Jones, Shelton Sampson. And if you go back, LSU's had a lot of success in the last decade recruiting Catholic High. I mean, you've gotten Geis, and you got Clyde, and you got Emory, and now you've got Shelton Sampson. You've gotten all the big-time prospects you've wanted from Catholic. At other places in town, I mean, U-High has been notable, and we've talked about it. You've gotten some, and you've missed on some. And I always say that every kid's decision is his own to make to go wherever you want. That's if you're an athlete or a scholar or whatever you want to do. Go do you and what's best for you. But that talent pool is far from dried up. I mean, there are more kids in the pipeline that are going to be major college football players that are Catholic right now. And you have built a really good synergy right now, not only what you had with Ed Ogeron staff and before that with Les Miles, but now also you're starting that with Brian Kelly, which is great to see. So, I mean, congrats to the LSU coaching staff during that transition to put the full court press on, to have Cortez Hankton there, to have Joe Sloan, to have Brian Kelly, to even have some of the, like J.R. Belton, to have some of the recruiting guys who aren't, the full-time, on-field staff members who really went hard to make Shelton Sampson a priority and to get him to pick LSU. A dude at a position of need in a year when you need receivers, from your hometown, who you beat to get him, all that just matters so much. So Shelton Sampson picking LSU on Saturday, and LSU should get more good news here this week as well with Ricky Collins and with Kylan Jackson as well. All right, it's after further review. Monday shows are brought to you by Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Windows, doors, siding, Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. Not just windows. Remember, doors and siding, hardy plank and vinyl siding. You want to basically transform the exterior of your home in about 2 weeks' time? Ask about hardy plank or vinyl siding. Request an estimate. They'll financing options. They have 12 months interest-free. They have financing up to 7 years as well. If you're interested, check out Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com, the new showroom, which is open on Airline Highway in Prairieville. So on Friday evening, Noah Cain was one of the players that was made available to the media. This is the first time that we got to talk to Noah Cain since he transferred to LSU from Penn State. Remember the story? He was a Louisiana guy. His family moved to Texas post-Katrina, which was a familiar story for so many back in 2005. From Texas, he went to IMG Academy in Florida, ultimately committed to Penn State. LSU was really his dream school, but John Emery was part of the 2019 class at LSU. So Cain ended up going to Penn State, but now entered the transfer portal, had that relationship with Frank Wilson. He's back at LSU now. Here was Noah Cain on the decision to come back to LSU.
So when I had entered the transfer portal, I had seen that Coach Frank was returning to LSU. And, when the opportunity presented itself, it just made sense, with Coach Kelly's track record, Coach Denbrock's track record, and, Coach Frank, the guys that he's coached and put in the league. I just want to be coached by one of the best coaches in the country, and I knew he could help me get my game to the next level. The journey I've had, having success early, having injuries, and now back being at LSU, it's just been great being back home. It's been a privilege to be at LSU, so I've just been happy to be here, getting coached by Coach Frank all summer. I became a better player, and I've noticed the improvements in my game, just from the first day I got here in May to now. So it's just been a great transition so far.
It's worth mentioning when he mentioned, injuries. Noah Cain played a lot as a freshman in 2019. And then in 2020, the COVID year, the first game of the season, that game where Penn State played Indiana, the really dramatic ending where Indiana beat Penn State and played at the goal line. He was injured, had 3 carries that game, was injured, done for the year. Then kind of got Wally pipped. He played in 13 games last year, started 6 times, but as the season went along, ultimately lost reps, lost his job, and entered the transfer portal. So now he's back at LSU. Here's Noah Cain talking about the work he's done with Frank Wilson.
And I became more explosive. That was one of the biggest things that Coach Frank and I had talked about when I came on my official visit in January. Just my explosiveness, just becoming a more all-around back. And, a lot of the things that Coach Frank wanted me to work on was just my IQ of the game, letting the game slow down for me. He showed me some tape, with guys like Leonard and Geis, just showing how they, do different pre-snap reads, and showing me, the type of things that helped them, be the players they were. And, Coach Frank just helped my game so much this summer, man. Coach Miles as well, the assistant running back coach, and the rest of the guys in the group have just helped me become a better player overall.
One of the big questions, of course, also is health, considering missed the entire 2020 season. And, was never really back into form a year ago. This was great to hear.
Nah, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling 120%. Last year, it was just the Liz Frank injury, it was kind of uncomfortable to, trying to play through. It didn't heal as fast as I would have liked to. The way I run the ball, it was just kind of uncomfortable running, with that type of injury. As the season went on, I became more and more comfortable. But this offseason, it's been a great offseason, just getting back to myself mentally and physically. Now being back at LSU, it's just been straight work every day and just, working on improvement.
One of the notes from the practice report that I gave in hour 1 of the show today was that Noah Cain was taking reps with the first team. I'm not suggesting that he's beaten out John Emery or anything like that, because I think a lot of people are excited to see what John Emery can do as a bell cow this year. But Trey Bradford, his defection leaves you very thin. You've got 3 scholarship running backs. I mean, you got Emery, Cain, Armani Goodwin. That's it. I mean, Josh Williams, the former walk-on, is your other back in that mix, but you are paper thin at running back right now. So all of these guys are going to have to play and are going to have to play a big role on this team. But Noah Cain was taking first-team reps today. And I'm not going to be surprised if we see that sort of two-headed monster with these two guys, with Emery and with Noah Cain. And that's not even considering what Armani Goodwin might be able to bring to the team as well in his role, because he looks really fast and explosive as well. But a big part of that is going to be Cain's health. Look, as a freshman, he played in 10 games and had 443 yards, ran it 85 times. Averaged better than 5 yards a carry as a freshman. We know he got injured last year, or in 2020. Then last year, played in 13 games with 6 starts, had 105 carries for 344 yards. He's got more rushing attempts, more rushing yards, and more rushing touchdowns than John Emery. I mean, Noah Cain, similar to the quarterback conversation, Emery's been around here the longest. Noah Cain is the most experienced back. Like, Miles Brennan's been around the longest. Jaden Daniels is your most experienced quarterback. So I'm not going to be dismissive of the role Noah Cain could play on this team. As excited as we are about John Emery, and I'm in that number, I think he could have an awesome year, and I'm excited to see what it looks like if John Emery gets 200 carries in a year. But I'd love to see Noah Cain get 100. Love to see how that dynamic could work with those two guys. So Noah Cain back home in Louisiana, ready to put on for his state, feeling healthy, feeling good. And Tigers are going to need him because they are thin at that running back spot. They're going to need all those guys to play a big role. All right, it's after further review. We're going to knock out a break. We'll talk some more LSU in about 30 minutes with Michael Cauble. When we come back, actually, we'll continue some general college football talk because the preseason coaches poll was released today. LSU unranked for the first time since 2000, Nick Saban's first season. But there is one metric that absolutely loves this LSU football team. I'll tell you what it is next.
AFR.
Brought to you by Clegg's Nursery. Buy local, shop local. That's Clegg's Nursery. For more than 60 years, Clegg's has been helping homeowners in the greater Baton Rouge area make your yard look like a showplace. Having issues with your lawn? Clegg's can help. Maybe you got brown spots, or you're not sure what's going on? No worries, Clegg's has the answers. Also, if you want to beautify your flower beds, the exterior of your home, patio pots, Clegg's has them all. They got a great selection of flowers and plants and trees and shrubs, Johnny Naylor seeds. And if you're not sure what to plant, you're not sure what is going to need a lot of TLC or what could really just thrive in the South Louisiana heat where you don't have to give it a ton of attention, they got all those answers as well. So if you're a green thumb, you know it's a place for the experts. But if you're a novice, no worries. Clegg's has all the answers for you. It's Clegg's Nursery. 4 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area, and they're partnered with True Value Hardware Store. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you. Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Glad to have you aboard with us, rolling along. This probably did not sit well with many LSU fans today. For the first time since 2000, Nick Saban's first season in Baton Rouge. Of course, LSU was coming off back-to-back sub-500 seasons under Jerry DiNardo when LSU was unranked to start the 2000 college football season. This is the same fate that this LSU team is now facing, unranked for the first time since 2000. Now, in that 2000 season, LSU wasn't great, but they did manage to pull some upsets, beating Tennessee that year in Tiger Stadium, as we all know, in overtime, and went on to win the Peach Bowl. But LSU started that season unranked and then, of course, won the SEC the next year, and Nick Saban really got the train rolling, as we all well know. There's gigantic expectation on Brian Kelly. Of course, he can't control what the pollsters do and what coaches do. I do tend to put more credence in what coaches do as opposed to what media members say, because coaches play against, coach against, prepare against other coaches and other programs. Alabama preseason #1, as we all do well know. Alabama preseason #1, and they got 54 of the 66 first-place votes. The oddity, after Bama, let's see, Ohio State had, Ohio State was ranked second, and they received 5 first-place votes. Georgia was third. They got 6 first-place votes. And oddly, Texas was ranked preseason number 18, but still managed to get a first-place vote. I would love to know. By the way, coaches' ballots are not revealed except for the final poll of the season when it's voted on for the national championship. The coaches' ballots aren't revealed, so we won't know who that was who voted Texas #1 in the preseason. But I think we would all just love to know at this point. If you're curious as far as the rest of the top 25, so your top 10, Bama, Ohio State, Georgia, Clemson, and Notre Dame, that's your top 5. Michigan is at 6. Texas A&M, which I just don't understand, is at 7. Utah, 8. Oklahoma, Baylor, Oklahoma State go 9, 10, 11. So that trio of Big 12 teams, Oklahoma, Baylor, Oklahoma State, 9, 10, 11. If you're wondering about other SEC schools, it's a big jump until you get to Kentucky at 21. Arkansas at 23, and Ole Miss preseason number 24. Houston is 25 to round out the top 25. If you're wondering where LSU is in the dreaded also receiving votes category, but they were not first among those receiving votes. Iowa, Penn State, Tennessee, and BYU all received more votes than LSU. So if you're just going on point total or votes, LSU would have been 30th in these initial standings. I'm not mad at it. You had back-to-back 500 seasons. You played a bowl game with 39 scholarship players. You have a new coaching staff coming in that had to massively turn over your roster. Ed Orgeron left the roster a mess, left the whole situation a mess, and Brian Kelly is uprooting the whole thing and planting it anew. So I understand why people are skeptical. That much just shouldn't really be surprising to anyone to know that there is noted skepticism about LSU. One thing that should give you, if you are an LSU fan, some degree of comfort, hope, optimism, call it what you want, is that there is at least one metric that loves LSU. Now, I'll remind you that there are those of you that crapped on the FPI from ESPN when they had LSU as an underdog in 7 games a couple of years ago. So essentially projecting 5-7. Well, this year, ESPN's FPI actually really loves LSU a lot. FPI favors LSU in 9 of its 12 games. There are 3 games where LSU has a less than 50% chance of winning. One of them, as we well know, is when LSU will play Alabama on November the 5th. FPI gives LSU just an 18% chance of winning that game. The others, October 1st at Auburn and November 26th at Texas A&M. And you might be surprised to find that it's actually the LSU has a better chance, according to FPI, of winning at A&M than at Auburn. LSU has a 44% chance to beat A&M, just a 42% chance of winning at Auburn, which might surprise you. But you've heard me say this all offseason. Going on the road and winning at Auburn and at Florida and places like that is hard. It's very hard to do. So when it gets there, we'll talk more about it. But FPI gives LSU a 71% chance of beating Florida State, a 99% chance of beating Southern, which I think we all understand. You know, my contention as we've looked at this schedule and talked about it last week is that I'm going to break LSU's schedule down into 3 quadrants, basically. The first 4 games where you play Florida State, Southern, Mississippi State, and New Mexico. You need to start 4-0. I mean, you got to beat Florida State and New Orleans, and you got to beat Mississippi State at home. You do that, you start 4-0. And then you go to Auburn. That's the game I told you. Like, there are 2 games in that next quadrant. You got 2 at home and 2 on the road. You're home against Tennessee and Ole Miss. You're on the road at Auburn and at Florida. I think you need to split those road games against Auburn and Florida. If you manage to do that and win both of your home games, now you're 7-1 going into October. If you split those 4 and go 2-2, you're 6-2 going into November, which isn't a bad place to be, especially when you think about what FPI projects. Because in November, then you've got Bama, Arkansas, UAB, and Texas A&M. LSU has a 54% chance of winning at Arkansas and a 44% chance of winning at Texas A&M. Again, you split those, you beat UAB and lose to Alabama, that's how you're looking at an 8-4 season. And the way you get to 9-3 is if you take care of business in the home games you're supposed to win. Meaning, you beat Mississippi State, you beat Ole Miss, you beat Tennessee, you win the 3 home conference games that you're supposed to win. Like LSU's supposed to beat Tennessee in the Mississippi schools in Tiger Stadium. You win all 3 of those, and you manage to split Auburn and Florida, now you're looking at a legitimate chance of going into November with a shot of being, a 9-3 football team. Or if everything falls your way and you win at Arkansas and at A&M, 10-2. Now, I don't think that's going to happen. I want to be clear. I'm not predicting that to happen. But this is a metric which is far from perfect. A lot of times when this isn't in your favor, a lot of y'all have crapped on it. And I don't blame you. But it's an objective metric as opposed to someone's subjective opinion. And this objective metric likes LSU far more than many of these subjective analysts looking at this college football team. But I'm gonna circle 2 dates on this schedule. It's October the 1st at Auburn, October the 15th at Florida. If you hold serve at home against Ole Miss, Tennessee, Mississippi State, if you hold serve at home in games you should win in the conference, and you're able to split Auburn and Florida, I think that's a realistic ask. That's realistic. Then you go into November 7-1. You go into November 7-1 with so much ahead of you. I'm not going to predict LSU to beat Alabama. I don't think they will. But you'll have a chance to do something special, kind of like Michigan State did a year ago when, look, they took some embarrassing lumps in some big games. They got blown out by Ohio State, but they still managed to put together a double-digit win season and played in a New Year's Six game. I'm not projecting that for this LSU team, but that's the path to do it. All right, so coaches poll, no likey LSU. FPI very much likes LSU this year. All right, it's after further review. We'll knock out our final break of hour number 2. When we come back, Muso will have Tigers in the pros. Let me remind you about the Williamson Eye Center, 924-2020, 924-2020. Remember, I care, I wear, I surgery. Go bring the whole family for those eye exams at the Williamson Eye Center. Baton Rouge with 2 locations, Denham, Gonzales, Zachary, New Roads, now in Lutcher. Get your annual eye exam. Remember, all this month, if you need contacts or glasses, buy a pair of glasses, get the second pair 50% off this month at the Williamson Eye Center. And as I tell you all the time, no matter your age or your refractive issue, if you want to see 20/20 without contacts or glasses, there's a way to do it. The Williamson Eye Center can help. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. All right, Muse will have Tigers in the pros to wrap up hour number 2 next.
AFR.
Bayou Ford has $10,000 off new Ford F-150s. We have new 2021 F-150s on our lot now with $10,000 off MSRP. And all new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at revelryteam.com. Revelry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her Auctioner primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an Auctioner care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioner Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
You can always text the show on the 225-396-4400. 396-4400. Eric said, I can understand not ranking LSU in the top 25, but we would never lose to Houston. Not in Houston's best season and LSU's worst. Never going to happen. Houston won in Baton Rouge in 1999. Muso, Tigers in the pros.
Tigers in the pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
A lot of congratulations to Michael Papierski. Milestone for Pap yesterday in the Reds' 4-2 victory over the Brewers. First career home run for Michael Papierski. A 1-for-1 day, RBI, run scored. Also drew a walk before being lifted for Jonathan India. Hey, if you're going to hit your first career homer, why not do it off the reigning NL Cy Young winner Corbin Burns? That's what Michael Papierski did.
He yacked it right down the line. It was great to see.
It's fantastic. You know what else is great to see? Aaron Nola getting W's.
Pap, by the way, is going to get to play in the Field of Dreams game.
He will, won't he?
That's pretty cool.
Reds Cubs.
Yep.
Aaron Nola picked up his 8th victory of the season yesterday. 6 innings, 5 hits, a run it was earned. Walked 2 and struck out 5. 91 pitches, 58 strikes. How about the Phillies? 13 runs behind Aaron Nola yesterday.
Wow.
13
Don't
runs.
waste them all in one outing.
Yeah. Well, they're not listening. That's what they did.
I know.
DJ LeMahieu had one heck of a day yesterday for the New York Yankees. 3 for 6 for DJ, highlighted by a 2 doubles, a homer. He also added an RBI and scored 2 runs.
Yeah.
288 for DJ so far. It's really heated up since the All-Star break at the top of the order for New York.
Yeah, it didn't matter. But I'm happy for DJ.
It didn't, but DJ had a great day.
Yeah, he did.
Alex Lang with a bounce-back effort. 1 perfect inning of relief yesterday for the Detroit Tigers through 11 pitches, 7 strikes, tallied 1K.
Wow.
And Landon Marceau made his debut for the Double-A Rocket City Trash Pandas. Short outing, good outing, though. 2 2/3, gave up a hit, a run, walked one, and struck out 2. Maybe just a pitch count thing early for
Ben
Landon.
Joyce is there, too.
He is, yes. Ben Joyce is there.
A lot of Trash Panda news today.
Sonny DeShera is also a part of the Trash Pandas.
The Trash Pandas.
The Trash Pandas.
They got some dudes over there.
They've got a squad, man. They've got a squad. The just absolutely bonkers 2022 for Kramer Robertson continues. So to recap, Kramer made his Major League debut with the Cardinals, was DFA'd, picked up by the Braves, was DFA'd, picked up by the Mets, called up by the Mets, DFA'd. Now he's back in Memphis with the Cardinals.
St. Louis claimed him over the weekend.
So,
oh my God,
Kramer's going to have a lot of airline miles to cash in a little bit later on. And then finally, Sylvia Fowles yesterday, 8-8 for Big Sil against the Atlanta Dream.
Big Sil.
And that's Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com for 40 years, where Baton Rouge has gone to get engaged, actually with 9 locations and locations all over Louisiana, where all of Louisiana goes to get engaged. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. All right, talk some LSU football with Cauble coming up right after SportsCenter.
AFR.
Hey, I want to take 60 seconds and remind you about GMFS Mortgage. I've had the great pleasure to tell you about GMFS every day for about a decade now. And I could not be more happy to do so every day because at GMFS, their slogan is changing lives, and they do that financially for people every day. The number 1 USDA lender in Louisiana, number 11 in the entire country. That's GMFS Mortgage. If you're buying a home, if you're building a home, maybe you want to do a cash-out refi, GMFS can help. But most importantly, again, the Baton Rouge Business Report has voted them among the best places to work in Baton Rouge. That's GMFS Mortgage. Great people willing to help their neighbors. Change your life financially. GMFS Mortgage can help. GMFSmortgage.com. Go to the website, find the local loan officer nearest you at GMFS Mortgage. GMFS Mortgage, changing lives.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Hunt and Hill, The Early Line. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is SportsCenter.
Mercury trying to go on and clinch a playoff berth. However, they're going to have to do so without Diana Taurasi. She's going to miss the remainder of the season. The team announced she's out with a quad strain. Meanwhile, a sign that summer's almost over. Sorry, kids. Not really. Today, the release of the USA Today College Football Preseason Coaches Poll. Alabama, number 1. Ohio State, 2. Georgia, Clemson, Notre Dame round out the top 5. USC and their first-year head coach, Lincoln Riley, they checked in at 15. Texas, by the way, was 18. Someone actually gave the Longhorns a first-place vote. Baltimore Ravens running back J.K. Dobbins removed from the PUP list today. Should be ready to go for Week 1 against the Jets. Ravens also give all-world kicker Justin Tucker 4-year contract extension. ESPN's Jamison Hensley reports $17.5 million guaranteed. Jordan Love, by the way, going to start for the Packers this weekend against the Niners in the preseason opener. Aaron Rodgers hasn't played in the preseason since 2018. Do you imagine this happens here in the year 2022 to a professional basketball team? The LA Sparks last night were forced to sleep in the airport. Half of them were. The team got delayed in D.C., many cancellations, not enough hotel rooms.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. If you're a renter, make sure you're protected. Renter's insurance includes options that cover stolen property, personal injury, and living expenses if your place is damaged. Quote renter's insurance at progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR presented by Relief Windows. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
Muso. And Mr. Toby Tom, play. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. Spent part of the morning out at LSU football practice at the Charles McClendon practice facility, and media had 30 minutes to watch, and we will be back Thursday, and they're actually letting us watch the full practice in Tiger Stadium. Stunning. We're just not used to this kind of access, so hopefully we're able to bring you even better coverage with the access Brian Kelly and his staff are granting. Michael Cauble has been around these parts for an awful lot of years. Joins us now. How are you, Cobbs?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Do you have a thought on? I don't know how. I hesitate to ask questions like this because I don't know how much that the audience actually cares. But but I think it is sort of relevant when, and you've been around for like 3 head coaches now, or you were around at the end of DiNardo, yeah?
Yep. At the end of Jerry Deavy.
At 99 is when you started at BRZ, is that right?
97, yep.
You are so old. Oh, my gosh, you're so old. Okay, so give me a sense of what this is like to cover a team when you actually have access.
It's great. I mean, I think back to when Ed would break out his little cheat sheet and tell us the depth chart. You know, I mean, like those things are just so helpful for our job to kind of get a real handle and an honest approach to kind of, you know, to how things go. And I think that's the key right now, right? And it kind of hurts teams. It's interesting, you know, when teams don't understand this. It really hurts you when you don't let the media give fans an honest look at what your team is, because the expectations start to take your team down once the reality sets in. I think that happened with LSU in the previous 2 years. I think Brian Kelly's doing a good job of giving access when it's not real telling about his football team. We'll see what the access looks like in week 1, right? But
yeah,
right now, I mean, it makes a lot of sense for him to allow people to get a gauge on what this team looks like, and, you know, as they kind of push towards the start of their season.
Do you have a week 1 of camp gauge yet? What have been your impressions?
Just a lot of volatility in the positions that we thought they would have it, right? Just maybe not the top-tier talent that we've come to expect in years past off of teams, and you see that when you see how quickly the transfers find their way to the field. I don't know that they look poor or, you know, out of shape or anything. I just feel like you can tell some high-end players, and then I feel like the drop-off is pretty evident as well. So that would be my first week 1 assessment. Just kind of, yeah, they're starting 11. They can maybe hang, you know, but then I think there's a real big dip in talent after that.
I think it's fair. What about the quarterbacks? It looks like Nussmeier's running first. Every drill we saw today was, for those that didn't hear the report earlier, Nussmeier, Daniels, Brennan, Howard. Again, all subject to change. It's a weekend of practice. But that seems how they're running it right now.
No, and it hasn't changed. I mean, from what we saw last week in the practice that we had indoors, that kind of surprised me as well, that Miles was as far behind as he was. But look, you've said it. Mike Denbrock said it again today. They really do value the mobility in a quarterback. I mean, and Denbrock said that today in his press conference, just talking about the type of athletes that you go against in a league like this. You have to have some mobility at the quarterback position. So maybe we shouldn't be surprised at all. You know, maybe we should have seen this coming to some degree.
Yeah, I did.
And again, yeah, I know you did. I know you like to say that, yeah.
I did.
But I did.
And when I'm wrong, they'll say, hey, look, I missed that one. I was wrong.
Well, just the idea that, you know, they are going to have to throw the ball. You know, if Jaden is in there, they are going to have to throw the ball. And one of the passes, I mean, you can see it in my video here, that he struggled to hit the receiver in stride. The dude had to, like, go down to the ground to get it. So there's still some of those issues, I think, that he'll have to work through. But I definitely think you're seeing Garrett kind of emerge, yes, as you know, the combination of all of that, right?
Yeah, if I have a gigantic question on this team, it's and this is the thing for me that has just crystallized the most. It's the offensive line. I think you alluded to it when you said the things that we thought were going to be an issue.
Yeah.
That I didn't I'm not even sure I realized it was going to be even as big of an issue as it is right now. Any thoughts there?
Just that it's so in flux. I mean, you got 2 freshmen in the 2 deep right away, right? I mean, like, there's just
three. Will Campbell, Emory Jones, and Fitzgerald West was the second center today. I mean, Cobbs, Fitzgerald West was a high school defensive lineman. They got him run as the second center right now.
Well, so I was going through practice, and I saw a little Charles Turner at center as well. So I'm really trying to figure out what they're doing with some of the positions, because I feel like it's not true ones. I was standing next to you today, so, you know, I saw basically the same thing. It wasn't true ones based on the receivers that they had on the field. I don't know if it's true ones, and Nick Storrs is your number 1 tight end. I thought that was very interesting.
So right when practice began, and for the audience, there's 4 full-size fields, and we enter at one corner. And when they started, the offense was running at the football field completely opposite. Like, if you're just drawing a straight line from one, they were. And so I was kind of watching, and they were doing a sort of simulated 2-minute offense, and Cole Taylor was running as the first tight end with what looked like the first offense, with Nussmeier leading them at that point. But yeah, they're not settled there either, for sure.
Well, when Denbrock called for the ones up,
yes,
Storrs was the first one, and then Mason Taylor was actually the second one with the 2s, when it was clearly the second offensive line. But to get back to your offensive line question, right? No, it has been the question mark for ad infinitum, and I feel like it will be until they get their recruiting cycles in and really start winning at those positions. I was thinking about that today. You know, LSU, Baton Rouge, all of us, they like to tout the skill players that they're able to recruit. And how many times have they taken, you know, 6 corners and 2 offensive linemen in recruiting classes, and I just feel like that's different in the championship programs. Their big flexes with their 5 stars are tackles, are guards, and they do have talent, but they're not taking 4 of them, LSU's winning right now. Its highest rated recruits are receivers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's great, but you've got to get the ball out. You've got to, keep your quarterback upright. So I just feel like there are some recruiting cycles to come where LSU is going to need to help themselves.
I agree. He's on Twitter at Cauble, WBRZ Sports Director Michael Cauble's with us talking about LSU football. We had availability today. It's interesting because we don't get availability every day, which is a change. But what we are getting to see seems to be more than what we've seen in the past. Tell me something that you do like, that is impressive, that's catching your eye right now.
How about Noah Cain?
Okay.
Again, is that something? Is that a negative because it's not John Emery, or just the fact that he's been able to come in and really kind of jump right in? Now, again, it's the running back position, and most people feel like, that's where you can easily or quickly see your way to the field. A lot of that, to me, always has to do with protection, both ball security, but also passing game protection. How much and how critical are they in those aspects of the game? Those are the guys I want to see on the field. I feel like running back, to some degree, they kind of can always contribute no matter who you are, and you're always going to get to go in. But I think that says a little something. I think it does say that Emory Jones' name has now come up from Brian Kelly and Mike Denbrock's mouth, specifically, just about the strides that he's making. That's great to hear. I was curious how his strength would kind of translate in, and to hear, I don't know, maybe that's a negative that they're that far behind that a freshman can come in, in fall camp and already work his way into the 2 deep, or maybe he's just doing that well. The receivers, again, I think they're the strength. I even joked with Denbrock, like nobody asked a question about the receivers because I think we all know their talent. They're kind of a known commodity. Can the production be there? One of those kinds of things. But I'm excited about that group of receivers. I really am. I think they can be special if they can get the ball. And that's what, I don't know if it was at Rotary or not, but Brian Kelly said, maybe it was at SEC meetings. He said, I have playmakers. I just need a guy that can hit them in stride. I need to get them the ball, get it out. I think that's going to be something to watch for. And again, that comes back to offensive line protection to me. And then just play calling. Denbrock seems to get it. He talked to us today about the ability to kind of work the offense around who you have in the ball game. And someone asked about just the difference. Do you call a different game based on the quarterback? And he said, I don't really call a different game. Maybe the option won't be, in as frequent for, say, a Miles. Obviously, you can kind of fill in the blanks there. But he just said it'll be different aspects of the same game that's called and different strengths that they would flex versus some things that they would stay away from.
Before you go, Ojulari gets number 18. You like it?
I do. I don't really feel strongly one way or the other about 7 or 18. I'm always happy for the guys that get it. I just, to me, it's about the leadership, and I like to see the leadership come out of those jerseys. I like to see the leadership come out of anyone. But if they feel like those are great representatives of what those numbers represent to the team, then that's the important part. Fans, they can love the jersey, they can love the tradition, but it's ultimately about the production of the guys that are wearing it and how they bring people along with them. I think that's the best part about that. I think some 7s have been rather selfish in the past. I'd like to see that change a little bit, and I think maybe you can this year. So we'll see. I loved talking to Kayshawn last week, who told me that he pronounces his name Booty. That was interesting to me.
He says Booty.
Yep, he does. So, dude, I've been struggling with that. I'll say it like 2 different ways twice, but I'm just glad to see like kind of that come to full circle. Come back around. He say the right things. BK say the right things about him. I think that's important. You got to have everyone in the same boat. Rowing in the same direction.
He is Michael Cauble on Twitter at Cauble, WBRZ Sports Director. What do y'all have tonight, man?
We're talking Mike Denbrock, a little quarterback breakdown, obviously getting caught up with Jameis as well. And then I thought this was interesting because Mike said he liked the strides they were making. I thought they looked a little sloppy while we were out there. I don't know if you recall them stopping and restarting. And I heard you mention earlier the muff snap. Just a little sloppy here and 5 days into this thing.
Yeah. They're going to – look, they're going to have strengths. They're going to have some very obvious weaknesses as well. Hopefully it all comes together. They got time. Got a month.
Got time.
All right, Cobbs, we appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
That is Michael Cauble, sports director at WBRZ. This is after further review. Yeah, a quick thought on B.J. Ojulari. We are going to hear from Mike Denbrock in about 15 minutes from right now. We'll reset what LSU's OC had to say. Glad to have you aboard with us here. When we come back, Saints out a linebacker, and should they trade for Kareem Hunt? Was asked that question a bunch over the weekend. I'll talk about it next AFR.
AFR.
If you're buying or selling a home, if you need a realtor, you need Darren James. This 5-star review came in from Tracy Conrad. Said Darren and his team made the entire process simple and kept us well informed the entire time. The best real estate company I have ever dealt with. Very professional, experienced, and helpful. Highly recommend. That's a 5-star Zillow review from Tracy Conrad. And my reviews over the years have been the exact same. If you want a realtor that's going to get you results, but most importantly is going to be available, the number one complaint to the National Association of Realtors. Realtor listed my home, never heard from him again. You'll never worry about that with Darren James. Darren goes to the end of the earth to make sure that you're thrilled, not only with the results, but with the process to get there as well. If you need a realtor, you need Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666, or agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more taste and only 96 calories. It's Miller time.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Well, after just one practice, Kiko Alonso retired. So the Saints were looking for linebacker depth. Of course, Quan Alexander signed with the Jets. So the Saints brought in Kiko Alonso, worked him out, was in shape. They signed him, went through one practice. He retired. So the Saints have brought back Chase Hansen. Hansen also spent time with the Falcons earlier this year. He's got one tackle in 5 career games played over the last 2 seasons, predominantly as a special teamer with the Saints. I think my biggest concern has moved for the Saints. It's no longer running back. I think my biggest concern is linebacker. And I don't mean for that to be reactive, but I think the Saints defense has to be dominant. I think for this team to win, for it to work the way it is, I don't realistically think the Saints offense, even with the new weapons they've added, with a healthy Jameis, I don't think they're going out to score 30 a game. Especially no Sean Payton. I think the offense will be much improved over a year ago. Obviously, I don't think they'll be the worst passing team in the NFL. But I think they're going to be led by their defense. And I'm a little more bullish maybe on the defensive line because I think you have a lot of versatility with some of those guys. Namely, if you get a healthy Peyton Turner and Marcus Davenport, guys that can play inside and out. But, man, after Demario Davis and now Pete Werner, boy, you just don't have a lot there. And even Pete Werner is a question mark to a degree. I mean, he's played one NFL season, and now he's battling an injury. I mean, you've got Andrew Dowell, who's in his 2nd year. You got Zach Bond in his 3rd year, Caden Ellis in his 4th year, Eric Wilson in his 6th year, and then Jackson, the rookie out of Appalachian State that you just drafted. You don't have any proven depth at all. So you really cannot afford any injury at all at linebacker, or you're going to have someone step up in a dramatic way, which they never have before. So I am concerned, man, about linebacker, and I'm going to be curious to see if the Saints do try to add anybody there. I have been asked a lot. So the other position I mentioned there was running back, and I've talked about this since the draft. I wanted the Saints to draft a running back. They didn't. A big part of that was they used a lot of draft capital to move up, and with fewer draft picks, didn't have the draft capital to take a running back. Their answer was Abram Smith, the running back from Baylor, who they paid a lot of money as an undrafted free agent to sign with the team, and I think he could be very good. So when we saw the news over the weekend that Kareem Hunt was asking for a trade, I got asked by a lot of Saints fans, hey, should the Saints go make a move for Kareem Hunt? And listen, and look, I've been one of the guys who's been pretty adamant that I'd like to see the Saints make a move to bring in a running back. And we've talked about a lot of those guys. If it was Sony Michel, if it was Darrell Williams, if it was Tariq Cohen. We talked about a lot of those guys over this year, over this offseason. I do not think the Saints should make a move, though, for Kareem Hunt. And I want to be clear because I think there's 2 different parts of this conversation. Number one, I would love the player. I would love to have Kareem Hunt on the Saints. I mean, he was phenomenal as a rookie when he led the NFL in rushing back in 2017. We know he had a major issue where he was videoed shoving and kicking a woman. He was ultimately released by Kansas City. He was signed by the Browns. And he and Nick Chubb might be the best running back tandem in the NFL. Kareem Hunt was injured for a bulk of last season, missed it. But here's the bigger problem. Kareem Hunt has 1 year left on his contract. He signed a 2-year, $12 million deal with Cleveland. He's got 1 year left. So if you are to acquire Kareem Hunt, you'd have to trade for him. So you would have to give up an asset, likely a draft asset. So you're going to give up draft capital to acquire a player who's in the last year of his contract. So the only way it really makes sense is if he agrees to sign to a longer-term deal. But are you really going to commit dollars to a running back when you signed Alvin Kamara to a 5-year, $75 million contract? I cannot in any way in any way be okay with having not one but two running backs on gigantic contracts in an NFL where the running back position is completely devalued. So the Saints have a potential out in the Kamara contract after 2023. I don't suspect that they'll exercise that. You still have another year before you have to even think about that, more than a year to even think about that. But I would love Kareem Hunt, the player. I would not be okay with giving up an asset for a player who has 1 year left on a contract. And if you wanted to keep him, you have to sign him to a contract, and then you'd have two running backs eating up a chunk of your salary cap. So, no. Yeah, would I want Kareem Hunt? Yes. Would I want Kareem Hunt for what it's going to cost? No. All right, it's after further review. We're brought to you by the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana. Bluebonnet in Baton Rouge, Ambassador Caffrey in Lafayette, and online at theantiagingclinics.com. Theantiagingclinics.com. You can check them out, again, online. Go see them in Baton Rouge or in Lafayette. If you want to feel like your younger self, hormone replacement therapy could be the solution. You want to burn fat. You want to build muscle. You want to sleep better at night. Wake up feeling refreshed. You want to feel like you did when you were in your 20s. You can. And the Aesthetic Medicine and Anti-Aging Clinics of Louisiana can help. They're online at theantiagingclinics.com. Again, theantiagingclinics.com. Congrats to BJ Ojulari. We talked about it there with Cauble a bit, getting the number 18 jersey. You know my feelings. I don't care. I don't care if you put a poop emoji on the front of your shirt. I don't care 7, 18. It just doesn't matter to me. I've always said go create your legacy by being the best ever to wear that number. But what does matter is if the players care. So if it's an honor to the players and it motivates them and inspires them, then it matters. And that seems to be the case here. So, we talked about BJ Ojulari at SEC Media Days, why it was important for him to be there. I mean, I believe the reason that he earned preseason All-SEC honors is because he was at SEC Media Days. And when you're there and you're on display and you go through those interview processes and you expose yourself to the media as a whole, it puts you front and center. Wearing the 18 jersey will take that a step further. All Ojulari has to do now is take the next step and just have a great season. Go have a double-digit sack season, double-digit tackles for loss, and he'll be on everybody's All-SEC and some All-America list, which he deserves, and maybe, even be a first-round pick. For what it's worth, today, BJ Ojulari was we got to see the individual period at the beginning of practice, and BJ Ojulari is with the linebackers. So I'm sure he'll split time, because there's going to be times in this defense where Matt House may run a 3-4 and have Ojulari standing up as an outside backer. So we got to see BJ rep with linebackers earlier today in the individual periods at practice. Next time we'll have availability will be on Thursday in Tiger Stadium, where we will get to view the entirety of the practice, which will be pretty cool. So if there's something you want us to keep an eye out for, let us know. We're going to let you hear from Mike Denbrock coming up in a bit, primarily talking about the quarterbacks that I want you to hear. But last hour, if you missed it, we told you about the collective that SMU has formed. Last week, On3 Sports ranked the top 20 NIL collectives. And I've told you the reason I think this is significant is because in NIL context, the haves will continue being what they are. The question is, for that next tier that has great booster support, can they elevate themselves? Tennessee, Miami, those types of schools where they are clearly spending and can make themselves, they can buy themselves back into relevance. It was fascinating to see what happened today because SMU, their collective, was on that list. And today we learned that the SMU collective is committing $3.5 million to give every football and basketball player $36,000 per year. Everyone. Starter, non-starter, doesn't matter. Every single football and basketball player is going to get $36,000 a year at SMU. That's a big wake-up call. And so I got a text via the text line from Sean who said, is Vanderbilt about to become relevant? No, they're not, because Vanderbilt won't commit the dollars to being relevant. And that's the biggest difference. There's a lot of schools with money. Harvard could become the greatest college football program ever again if they wanted to. I mean, back in the late 1800s, Harvard and Yale and Princeton and all, whatever. But if Harvard, which could build a campus out of gold and not run out of money, if Harvard wanted to go invest in NIL and be great in football, they could, but that's not what Harvard's about. Harvard wants to be the beacon of academic, elitism and all that sort of stuff. Vanderbilt doesn't want to be great in football. They've never shown a commitment. Their stadium hasn't been touched since 1980. They don't invest resources into facilities or coaching or anything. So they don't want to be great. They want to be great in baseball because they've had the commitment and they've done their scholarship deal through baseball to where every player in baseball is in scholarship. It's why Vanderbilt has built that. They had a few key boosters who wanted to be great in baseball, and they committed to doing it. Football, they've never done it. That's why it's interesting to see which programs have the support, the booster support, to become great at those things. Tennessee does. Miami does. SMU does. How much will it matter how quickly remains to be seen. I'm not telling you that SMU is going to take LSU's place in the hierarchy. What I'm telling you is when you have schools like Tennessee, like Miami, like Texas Tech, like some of these schools that are becoming very active in NIL, they're just saying, hey, scoot over because you have another chair at the table now. That's all. All right. It's after further review. You can always text the show in the 225-396-4400. It's an app on my phone. I was at dinner last night, a HUDCO dinner, as a matter of fact, and I got a text from, well, I'll tell you the guy's name in a second. He's like, I'm taking a shot to see if this is really Matt. His name is Darren Quick. He said, I'm taking a shot. I'm going to believe it's really you, Matt, and give this to you. You can credit me if you like. And they said something. Anyway, so I sent him a video back, and I was like, hey, Darren, it's really me. So, yeah, it is me. 225-396-4400, 396-4400, 396-4400 if you want to text me during the show or anytime. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock a break. Two things left. When we come back, Mike Denbrock talking quarterbacks, and then Otter Locks to wrap up the show. Stay here.
AFR.
Man, I got a message over the weekend from a buddy. Their AC went out at their house. You want to talk about misery. The temperature in the home on the second floor got into the middle 80s. Oof. A dreadful, dreadful thought in the South Louisiana heat. Don't get stuck, y'all. Nights, holidays, weekends, River City's 1 hour air will always come out, and they will never charge you extra to come out after hours. Look for the big yellow trucks and vans with the giant clock on the side. You see them all over town. Your friends and neighbors use them. I use them. Part of the membership club, have been for years, which gets you preferred front-of-the-line service, membership club pricing. It's so worth it. But most importantly, if you have an issue with your AC, call River City's 1 hour air. 752-0001, 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime.
Vizzy, the first hard seltzer with antioxidant vitamin C. It just hits different. Vizzy, step up your seltzer game.
Dad!
Kids have staked out their place at Ochsner Medical Complex The Grove, where more than 30 pediatricians and pediatric specialists are all conveniently located under one roof, so you can spend less time driving and more time keeping your kids well.
Yes!
It's no wonder kids call dibs at The Grove. Ochsner Health Center for Children.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $10,000 off MSRP on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
So Mike Denbrock met with reporters on Monday after practice. I love the fact that we're actually going to get access to coordinators, and it's very refreshing. I mean, it's been a long time. I know it sounds repetitive, but it's been a long time since we've had this kind of access, and it's great. It's great to be able to talk to the offensive coordinator about what he expects. And Denbrock went into a lot of detail about the quarterback position and sort of what they expect and what they're looking for. Let's start with 3, if we could, Muse. This is LSU's offensive coordinator, Mike Denbrock, talking about what he's looking for in a quarterback.
Number one, we want someone who can run the system of offense that we're putting in. And it's an adjustable system. So that doesn't mean, hey, well, I remember where Coach came from, so that must mean this guy's got a leg up. It doesn't mean that. What it means more is what's in place for our offensive unit with the skill players that we have and who we have offensively playing to the strengths of that unit. So whoever really commands that the best and really who kind of takes ownership of the offense. We're looking for those guys to compete with each other, of course, but we're also looking for those guys to kind of somebody step out in front, somebody take the reins of this thing and really kind of be that guy that everybody looks to that upholds the standard of playing quarterback at LSU. And so those things in particular, yeah, of course, we don't want somebody who throws interceptions or fumbles the ball around or doesn't know how to check protections. But more than anything, I think the strength of the unit a lot of times, and especially we're a very quarterback-driven system, that guy's got to have command of what we're doing out there.
Okay, so that's important. He said we're a quarterback-driven system, and that might sound obvious because it's the most important position in team sports. We all know that. But there are different offenses where quarterbacks don't have to be the focal point. I mean, we've talked about Jake Coker winning a national championship at Alabama. He didn't have to be the dude. That's different in what Brian Kelly and Mike Denbrock are trying to do. Here is Denbrock elaborating on the offense being quarterback-driven.
I think that at its core, it's a quarterback-driven offense, which means they're all learning how to drive the offense, whether that – and I think when people think of, okay, how adaptable is the offense? Well, they look back at maybe what we did a little bit at Cincinnati where we were a little bit more of a read zone team and did some things like that. And people may not believe that all 4 of the quarterbacks that are in battling it out right now have the ability to do that. So how, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. When really what I mean by that as much as anything is that if read zone didn't happen to be a part of what we were doing, it won't greatly alter the fact that the offense is going to be driven by the quarterback from whether the protection is set right, whether the plays are adjusted at the line of scrimmage, how many audibles we use, and all those types of things. We have all that kind of as piece of our playbook that we can implement depending on who that guy ends up being.
He continues to say they want a running quarterback without saying they want a running quarterback and then insisting they don't want a running quarterback. But you can look at how this rotation has shaken out right now with Nussmeier, Daniels, then Brennan, and then Howard, who we know is likely to redshirt, why they're running the way they are. Specifically, because the quarterbacks have different skill sets, what about changing play calls based on the quarterback?
I don't know how much the play calling in particular would change. Maybe some of the options off the plays would change is from a play calling standpoint. I think mobility is a key anytime at the quarterback position, especially when you're playing against some of the dynamic athletes that there are up front in SEC defenses. So that's always, I think, a good thing to have, but I don't think it's necessarily the defining thing that's going to make the decision.
So good thing to have, not the defining thing, but it's something that they want. And listen, I understand why. And real quick, to prove his point, last year, Brian Kelly at Notre Dame was replacing a 4-year starter in Ian Book, who was a mobile quarterback. And the guy who won the starting job was Jack Cohn, the Wisconsin transfer. Jack Cohn is about as mobile as I am, which is to say, dude can't move. But he won the job. By the way, that also tells you sort of a timeline. I went back and looked this up today. Jack Cohn was named the starting quarterback on August the 14th, basically 2 weeks of camp. That's what they're going to do as well. Mike Denbrock, look, play, Muse, if you would, the number 8. They asked Denbrock if he'd like to have his quarterback settled here in fall camp.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there comes a line of demarcation of, we've got to get ready to win game one, and who gives us the best opportunity to do that. We're not, as you know, anywhere close to that yet, but those decisions will be made by Coach Kelly, obviously, when the cutoff happens, and hopefully it's an easy decision. Maybe somebody actually really separated themselves enough where it's so obvious that the decision happens sooner. Maybe there's 2 guys that are just battling each other, and it's awesome. You know what I mean? Maybe there's 3. The more the merrier at times, but we also got to get ready to play the season and get ready to win football games.
So you saw the example a year ago. Brian Kelly named Jack Cohn the starter August the 14th last year. 2 weeks of camp, they'll name a starter. They'll spend 2 weeks getting ready for Florida State. That makes the most sense. But this is all the quarterback conversation for me. I understand why it's going to be the thing everybody wants to talk about because it's quarterback. But for me, the biggest concern on the team now is the offensive line, having gone and seen it today. The fact that Garrett Dellinger is repping as your first-team center and has never played center, and the fact that Fitzgerald West, a freshman, a true freshman, who is a high school defensive lineman, was repping at second center, the fact that Charles Turner's been on campus 4 years and can't win that starting job, the fact that you had a true freshman left tackle in Will Campbell, which I think we expected, but nonetheless, that still is a yo. That Tremont Shorts was your left guard and Miles Frazier was your right guard today, running with the 2 transfers. I mean, and Bradford was your right tackle. It is, and then you had 2 true freshmen on your second team with Fitzgerald West at center and Emory Jones at left guard. And that bodes well for the future. That's got a lot of young guys that are talented and you're excited about them. It's concerning for this year. Here was Denbrock on the offensive line in flux.
It's in flux. I guess we're still, I think, in the identification phase of who are the best 5 guys actually going to be. Right now there's some moving around, some moving parts here and there. We've got a couple guys, obviously, that we didn't have in the spring that need to be evaluated. Whether that's a young guy or a veteran that's been here that's kind of back in the fray. We've got to get a feel for how they fit with the other pieces of the puzzle up there. Who's the guards, who's the tackles, who's the center, quite frankly, and just dig through that some more. So, 5 practices into it, I don't know that we're ready to kind of solidify everything we want to have solidified there, but within the next week or so, we'll be a lot closer.
And it will be fascinating. I told you that when they were running a sort of a red zone type drill with the full offense that we got to see today, the third snap from Garrett Dellinger rolled back to Jaden Daniels. I mean, that's something that has to be automatic. When in 2018 they were repping Chase and Hines at center, and I'm sorry, not 2018, 2020, they were repping Chase and Hines at center. And he could not get the shotgun snap, which is why Liam Shanahan ultimately played center, because Hines could not get the shotgun snap. So I'm not trying to tell you that one error, that one errant snap, is a condemnation on Garrett Dellinger as a center. But if you've never played center, the most important part is getting the shotgun snap, and is the exchange. And how quickly can you be super comfortable with that? I mean, it is for me the thing, singular, that has become the most worrisome right now for this LSU team. I think the defensive line looked as advertised today. Even some of those young guys, Quincy Wiggins is just so impressive looking. I think the linebackers are going to be fun to watch as well, the way that they fly around. And boy, you have so many bodies in that secondary. We didn't talk much about it, but you know, when you look at a guy like Jay Ward, who's been so good, when we were looking at some of the individuals, I mean, you had Fouché and Brooks and Burns. I mean, you had guys repping ahead. I mean, Sage Ryan was like the 6th safety repping, which is crazy. It's because of 5-star. So I think you got plenty of good players on the defensive side. I think you got great receivers and you got good, skilled, talented backs. Maybe not a ton of them, but you got good ones. That offensive line, they've they got to figure it out. And the team drills, scrimmages, which we're going to get to see, will be very telling. Because if LSU's defensive line is the strength of the team, like a lot of us have talked like it is, it'll be a great test for that offensive line whenever they get out there. So, our next media availability for us to watch practice is on Thursday. We'll get you a practice report then. Okay, it's after further review. We'll knock out our final break of the show. Come back. Jimmy will have Otter Locks. Don't you move. It's AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Pluckers. 2 locations in the greater Baton Rouge area. And tonight and every Monday is all-you-can-eat wings. 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings. Ice-cold draft beer, full-service bars, sports on TV. Pluckers voted a top 10 wing restaurant in the country by USA Today. Top 5 sports bar by ESPN. Wall-to-wall TVs, award-winning wings, ice-cold beer. What more could you possibly want? How about all-you-can-eat wings? That's tonight. Tonight and every Monday, all-you-can-eat wings at both Pluckers locations. So get there early, stay there late, eat as many of those award-winning jumbo chicken wings as you could possibly cram into your mouth and into your belly every single Monday at Pluckers. Full slate of Major League Baseball games tonight, all the way through to the nightcap, which is the Yankees and the Mariners out in Seattle. You want a place to watch, you can do it at Pluckers. Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery, Pluckers if you don't like our wings. We'll give you the bird.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Before we begin any electrical work here, we perform a home safety check that begins at your electrical panel to make sure that you and your family are safe. For all your upgrades, installations, and repairs, call Mr. Electric.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Vizzy, the first hard seltzer with antioxidant vitamin C. It just hits different. Vizzy.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Relief Windows. Windows, doors, siding. Call 288-8138 or visit reliefwindows.com. ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Down the stretch we come, final segment here on a Monday edition of AFR, presented by Relief Windows. One thing left to do. Let's find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks, presented by Workbox Services. For over 20 years, Baton Rouge's leader on on-site construction, industrial, and residential services.
So we turn to the one and only, the incomparable and often incomprehensible, the Ott father himself, Jimmy Ott. Otter, how are you?
Doing fantastic at the Hotel Del Coronado. Sitting outside, full open air, before we head across the bridge to Petco Park tonight for the Padres after they got it handed to them 3 straight in Chavez Ravine up 5 north.
All right, man. A little baseball tonight. I love it. Well, you betting on that one tonight?
Yes. Kind of a homer pick, but I think it's a team that needs a little positivity after stealing all the headlines before the trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they got kind of slapped down by Big Brother again. They're looking for some positivity. I think against the Giants, it's a good spot. I like, oh my gosh, I'm drawing like
Snell.
Blake Snell, the last 5 out of 6 starts that he's had. He had a bad year going, but he has been much better form as of late. Last 5 out of 6 starts, Matt, he's given up 1 or no runs. So he's in good form. I saw him pitch against Arizona a week and a half ago here. I've been here a while, I think. So, but
we know.
I know. I'm going to go with the Padres. Big number, but hook them up with a parlay. I got your team tonight, the New York Yankees. The Yankees are going against Seattle. One of my favorite pitchers, probably the second best pitcher to ever come out of Stetson, and Logan Gilbert. Of course, Jacob deGrom is the best. Gilbert has been outstanding, but just 6 days ago, Seattle. I mean, he pitched in Yankee Stadium, and they just shellacked him, man. I mean, it was 14 combined hits and walks in like 5 innings pitched, and advantage to the hitters. Seeing a guy that they saw the ball so well against last time, I'm going with Yankees in a pick, and I'll also hook them up in the San Diego parlay. Another one early goes at 6:05. Baltimore Orioles. I mean, remember when they were just scrappy, they're competitive, and they're getting these big numbers coming back. Then they were like 8-10 games under 500. They're 4 games over 500 now. I mean, exceeding expectations this year by a lot. They're coming back plus 20 at home against your guy, your favorite name guy, Kikuchi. Okay, Kikuchi. And so we're going him. And then check out my boy, Cole Irvin for the Oakland A's. All right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 starts in a row, 2 earned runs or less. The model of consistency, they're playing the hapless Angels at home. Give me the A's at home minus 25.
All right, so the Otter likes the Yankees. He also likes the Yankees and the Padres on a money line parlay. He's also got the Orioles and the A's at home against the Angels. Otter, where's Hanny tonight?
Hanny is at Spoken Hub on Government Street, heart of Mid-City. So I'll be joining him for the first 2 segments. We're breaking down a little bit a little bit more. We'll go back and forth on the MLB card tonight. Also look back at this past weekend, man. There was some things going on. You talk about the Yankees getting swept, the Padres getting swept. I mean, the Cardinals now have a 2-game lead in the Central. So we'll kind of regroup in MLB. And also, I've done all my research tomorrow. Myself, Bruce Marshall, and Paul Stone for the Bet Rivers Network YouTube channel. We'll be putting out our ACC preview. So, the conference of quarterbacks this year in the ACC, and the most highly recruited one is about the 10th best.
He is Jimmy Ott. Game Time with Jimmy Ott follows us in Baton Rouge. Otter, enjoy the game tonight, man. Thank you. Get out of here. All right. We're brought to you by South Point Volkswagen and SouthPointVW.com. New and certified pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com. Go test drive one today or log on to the website. You can work out your financing. If it's on the lot, it's online. You can do the whole thing online at South Point Volkswagen. If they don't have the vehicle you're looking for, they'll get it right here in Baton Rouge. South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. Airline just north of Highland or SouthPointVW.com. South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? I guess I'm at the point in my career now where I'm doing requests and dedications. Be careful what you ask for with the text line. Brett Brooks, Scone, if this is really you, can you give my Fantasy Football League podcast a shout-out? The other 11 guys would greatly appreciate it. We all listen to the show, and my co-host, Threat Level, is your biggest fan. We'll see what happens. Fantasy Football Podcast. Let Bill know he'll never make the playoffs. Bill, you'll never make the playoffs. I've turned into Casey Kasem, Muse.
Request and dedication live here on the Casey Kasem.
Muse, what did you learn today?
SMU's back to paying players.
Did they ever stop?
They're just good at it again.
They're really good at it. Paulie, what did you learn?
Kramer Robertson, back with the Cardinals.
Kramer had one hell of a year.
What'd you learn, Matt?
Cauble's been at BRZ since 1997. He's so old.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, we remind you about Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. Michelli.com. Sea to shining sea. Celebrating 75 years in business, y'all. That's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. So I've been telling you, they are hiring. So if you're looking for a career, a lot of people are right now. Coming out of COVID, maybe you're looking for a career change or maybe something stable. How about 75 years of stability? That's Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Their New Orleans Harahan office, Baton Rouge, and Lake Charles offices are all hiring right now. So it's so easy. Go to the website at Michelli.com, Michelli.com. Hit the careers tab right there at the top, and you'll see where you can apply now. You can tap that, fill out the form, select the position you're applying for. It's all right there at Michelli.com. Michelli.com. 75 years, our nation's largest distributor of scales. Learn more about all their products and services online at Michelli.com.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.